Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. 9PIW. Chapter 241. Huge Tornado. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Marco is comparable to Badgers and Pizarro. Unlike last time, Marco relied on Fruit ability to deal with them. But this time, Marco took the initiative to attack both Badgers and Pizarro. The blue flames kept shining around Marco, and he flew in the air, constantly attacking Badgers and Pizarro. At the same time, Marco's Fist of Immortality also caused a lot of damage to Badgers and others. If it wasn't for Badgers who was more resistant to beating, then the battle might have ended. It's just that the two people Marco confronted are of that kind of rough skin, so even Marco has firmly gained the upper hand. But they couldn't be solved completely for a while. Why this guy has changed so much? Badgers couldn't help complaining after falling into a bitter battle. It hasn't been long since Badgers and Pizarro attacked Marco last time, and at that time, Marco was not their opponent yet. But now Marco can steadily suppress them, and they don't have the slightest way to fight back. The damn it guy, it must be Whitebeard. Whitebeard guided them. Pizarro also complained. The battle between Joes and Basque is equally fierce, and their strength is very strong. However, after undergoing hell training, Joes now has a new understanding of combat techniques. Therefore, when fighting with the Basque, Joes also successfully wounded him. However, Basque is not so easy to solve. Even if he is injured, it still has no effect on his actions. Advertisement. The two sides were in a deadlock, and no one came to break it for a while. In addition, the battle between Beasta and Shiryu of the Rain is more difficult, although Beasta has improved a lot. But in the face of Shiryu of Rain, a well-rounded player like Shiryu, Beasta just barely managed to beat him 50-50. On the contrary, Allure was the fastest team leader to solve the battle. He used the characteristics of Fengfeng Fruit to constantly attack Van Oka from a long distance. At the same time, if Van Oka wants to counterattack, then this strong wind can also block Van Oka's attack, which can be described as both defensive and attacking. However, Arrow himself quickly walked around, and then found the right time to launch a fatal blow to Van Oka. A sniper is most afraid of being close, but Arrow can easily do it, so it didn't take much time to complete the battle. Finally resolved. After successfully killing Van Oka, Aroko looked at the surrounding situation. Allure found that the surrounding battles didn't seem to be very good, especially the captains who had dealt with San Juan before. I saw that they had all been wounded on the ground, and this guy wanted to trample these captains to death. Go away. Just as San Juan stepped out, Allure immediately rushed to help. The violent whirlwind hit San Juan's feet. Originally, Allure wanted to use this wind to blow San Juan back. But he soon discovered that the strength of this San Juan far exceeded his expectations. The strength of this guy is too strong, and the force that stepped out of his feet directly suppressed Aroge's whirlwind. Not good. Brother Allure saw that San Juan was about to trample the captains to death, so he personally stood in front of them. Advertisement. Aroge's fruitful abilities were fully utilized, and he raised his hand to support San Juan's foot firmly. However, his body was instantly pressed into the ground by this force, and half of his whole body was under the ground. Hurry up! Yaluo shouted to the captains, and they immediately escaped from this range. At this time, Aroge had already burst out the power of his whole body, and San Juan also continued to exert force, trying to trample Aroge to death. Marco flying in the air quickly noticed Arogo, who was in a disadvantaged position. No, Brother Arrow is in danger. Marco yelled, then dived at full speed. Marco rushed over as quickly as possible, but Marco did not go directly to help Arogo resist the attack. He launched an attack on San Juan, and Marco's entire body was burning with blue flames, rubbing violently in the air. Marco was like a huge fist, impacting on San Juan, directly knocking him back by 2 steps. Allure was also relieved, and immediately launched an attack on San Juan. I saw Brother Yaluo with his hands facing the sky, summoning a huge tornado in the air. The Whirlwind Dragon. Brother Allure shouted. The huge tornado gradually spread, from top to bottom, as if connecting the sky and the earth. Zero seeking flowers. 0. This is Yaluo's strongest move, and he will be exhausted after using this move. However, in order to deal with such a huge body of San Juan, he can only use this widest range of moves. After all, San Juan is known as a huge battleship, its body is like an island, and ordinary attacks can cause no harm to San Juan at all. Advertisement. A violent force made everyone on the battlefield feel a kind of horror. They stopped fighting one after another, looking at the violent tornado not far away. Quickly, get out of here. Marco immediately evacuated the other captains. If he was accidentally involved, he might not die or be seriously injured. Point 0. The Whitebeard pirates and the Blackbeard pirates immediately began to move away from this place and moved closer to the center of the island. At this time, this battle has long aroused the attention of residents on the island, and many residents have secretly watched from the tall buildings in the distance. As the king of the island, Tesla felt that he had the responsibility to protect the residents. He took his body that had not fully recovered and immediately followed the pirates to escape. Even the crew of Whitebeard is so powerful, Whitebeard is really terrible. Tesla sighed as he ran, and at the same time began to appeal to residents in the distance. Everyone, get out of here quickly, don't be affected. Tesla shouted. He knew that the Whitebeard pirate group and Blackbeard pirate group were getting closer and closer to the area where the residents lived. And these people are so strong that once they are carried out here, even if they are only marginal, they may cause the death of innocent people. Therefore, Tesla constantly called on them to protect themselves and avoid being affected. It's the kingly way. He is calling for us to leave. What happened? It's the pirate group. 2 pirate groups are fighting. They caused the tornado. There is also the earthquake that happened just now. These pirates are too terrible. Let's follow Lord Wang Dao's words and leave here as soon as possible. The residents of the town fled from where they lived to the mountain on the other side to take refuge. At this time, the battlefield has been divided into 3 areas. And Chapter 242, Huge Battleship. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The battle between Whitebeard and Blackbeard was on the coast, while Alorgo and San Juan were at a certain distance from the coast. The Whitebeard and Blackbeard pirates fought again in the woods near the town. Whitebeard urged a huge wave to hit Blackbeard's direction, and Blackbeard was still suppressed by the shock of Whitebeard. Faced with the huge waves coming, Blackbeard's heart beat violently. How could it be? How could I fall here? Blackbeard's eyes were full of unwillingness. But he has nothing to do now. It is impossible to stop this wave. Blackbeard has 2 powers of fruit, and he is more afraid of sea water than ordinary fruit-capable people. In this case, Blackbeard was also very frightened. Because of his dark fruit, the damage he received was doubled. 939. Therefore, once contaminated with Shanghai water, it is not just as simple as powerlessness for Blackbeard, but life-threatening. Just as Blackbeard was already desperate, a huge body suddenly rushed over. The hard body immediately stood in front of Blackbeard and shielded Blackbeard with that huge body. What? Aloha was surprised when he saw this scene. He had already summoned a tornado and was about to defeat San Juan with a single blow. Advertisement. But he suddenly rushed out, and still passed directly through the center of the tornado. Alorge did not know how much damage San Juan suffered, but he knew that San Juan was undoubtedly holding great willpower. If there is no firm will, it is impossible to walk through the huge tornado with one's own body. With such a large area, he knew that the tornado created by Alor brother himself was very attractive, and the attraction of the central part was huge. It was a miracle that San Juan could pass through the middle, so when Aroko saw San Juan's purpose in doing this, he was surprised. It turned out that San Juan was to protect Blackbeard. I saw that San Juan's huge body was cut with many scars, all of which were caused by the tornado. Just because at that moment, San Juan saw that Blackbeard was in danger, he could only go through the tornado from the nearest route. The island-like body of San Juan directly blocked most of the waves, and Blackbeard did not suffer any harm. No, it's okay. Blackbeard couldn't bear the shock of Whitebeard and was knocked out, but he felt that he was not submerged by the sea, and he felt fortunate. Unexpectedly, Blackbeard still has such a loyal subordinate. Whitebeard sighed as he looked at San Juan's scarred body. Although it is an enemy, Whitebeard admires San Juan somewhat because he reminds Whitebeard of someone. That was the little Oz of the giants. During the war at the top, Oz went to live to save Ace. They all have huge bodies, and they are all very loyal. On the surface they look a little silly. Blackbeard stood up quickly, and when the waves passed, he immediately stepped onto San Juan's body. Good job, San Juan, it's worthy of my trust in you, let's beat him together. Blackbeard said to San Juan happily. Advertisement. Ah. Hearing Blackbeard's words, San Juan shouted immediately, showing a high desire to fight. Ha ha ha. Whitebeard, this is my crew. Unlike you who treat the crew as your son, I treat them like brothers. Blackbeard exclaimed to Whitebeard proudly. And Blackbeard also secretly observed the current situation. Right now his other crew members and Whitebeard's captain are not here anymore. Currently here, only his black Whitebeard, as well as San Juan, Alorge. Blackbeard stood on a high place and looked at Eroge. He seemed exhausted and fell to the ground to rest. Therefore, Blackbeard thinks that he and San Juan have some chances of winning together. If Shiryu and others come to help afterwards, then the chances of winning will be even greater. So, perhaps because there are crew members to protect themselves, at this moment Blackbeard's confidence is greatly increased and he decides to fight with Whitebeard no matter what. Whitebeard's eyes were dimmed, he felt that Blackbeard's words were completely naive. Little did he know that Garp and Kizaru's combination was not in his eyes, let alone these two people, they are not even as good as Garp alone. Brother Alor, how are you? If you can still go, find a safe place to rest. Whitebeard used the power of the shock to wrap the sound and pass it zero. He also saw the state of Arog, so Whitebeard worried that the subsequent battle would affect Arog. Hearing Whitebeard's words, Eroge also immediately began to move forward. Eroge was helpless and could only crawl on the ground one step at a time. Damn it, I didn't even beat him like this. Aromatically, he crawled and hammered the ground in annoyance. With this move in the front, San Juan could come out unscathed and remain active. This can't help making Arrow brother doubt his ability, but he is trying to consume all his strength to prepare. Advertisement. This is equivalent to his biggest trump card, and he has not been able to overturn this San Juan. It seems that his training is not enough. But what Eroge didn't know was that San Juan didn't have much power anymore, and even if it weren't for Blackbeard, he might have fallen. The reason why I can persist is because of Blackbeard. San Juan has always been very grateful for his release by Blackbeard. So, when he saw that Blackbeard was in danger, he felt as if he was full of power and wanted to save Blackbeard. Kill you! San Juan yelled at Whitebeard, turning his fists. And Blackbeard was standing on San Juan's shoulders, looking at Whitebeard triumphantly. For such a guy, Whitebeard really doesn't want him to be used by Blackbeard. Teach, is this how you treat Brother 5.0? Didn't you see the scar on his body? He is already seriously injured. Whitebeard said heavily. Haha, San Juan's body is very strong. Why, are you scared now? Blackbeard smiled triumphantly. He felt that Whitebeard seemed to be afraid of his and San Juan's cooperation. Whitebeard shook his head, looking at Blackbeard like a fool. Afraid? This is really giving you some sunshine and you will be shining. Who is I, Whitebeard, afraid of? Human, it's self-knowledge. Blackbeard, how can you never realize this? Whitebeard said helplessly. Come on, San Juan, attack him. Blackbeard shouted immediately. Roar. San Juan's huge body immediately ran, and went straight to Whitebeard. Chapter 243. Blackbeard begs for mercy. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. San Juan waved that huge fist and bombarded Whitebeard. This fist swung out a violent air current, blowing and fluttering Whitebeard's clothes. However, when the punch fell 1 meter above Whitebeard, it suddenly stopped. San Juan was taken aback. He found that an invisible force was blocking his attack. This force was like a diamond iron plate, and he couldn't shake it at all. This surprised San Juan's heart for a while, and couldn't help attacking Whitebeard again with another fist. It's useless, Whitebeard said lightly. Then, another shocking force popped out, blocking San Juan's attack. And me, Blackbeard yelled, and jumped off San Juan's shoulder at the same time. I saw Blackbeard's right hand constantly infiltrating the black breath, and at the same time, the left hand gathered the shocking force. For the immortal, accept the elimination of the times honestly. Blackbeard shouted loudly, rushing towards Whitebeard, and then raised his right hand, covering Whitebeard with the black breath. Under the blessing of this black breath 01, Whitebeard's shock power is limited. At the same time, Blackbeard waved his left hand, and a shock came violently. Go to hell, Whitebeard. Blackbeard said proudly. Advertisement. Facing the upcoming Blackbeard attack, Whitebeard remained motionless as if he hadn't seen it. What's the matter? This old guy, why didn't he respond? Something is wrong. Seeing that Whitebeard didn't even act defensively, Blackbeard was extremely surprised. He was even ready for Whitebeard's second hand to defend, but what happened at this time surprised Blackbeard very much. Blackbeard didn't believe that Whitebeard couldn't react, he thought there might be fraud. But the arrow had to be sent on the string, and Blackbeard could no longer stop. At this moment, Whitebeard's eyes did not fluctuate, and Blackbeard's attack hit him in the next moment. The powerful shock force hit Whitebeard's body steadily, causing a huge shock in the space. It spreads out in the space like a wave of ripples, causing a wave of turbulence and storm. The impact of the powerful shock force on Whitebeard's body caused a violent airflow around him. Blackbeard looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief, and he couldn't believe it. It really hit. Blackbeard muttered to himself. He thought Whitebeard had any tricks, but he didn't expect that he really couldn't escape his attack. Ha ha ha, Whitebeard, you are not a myth either. The Black Club who reacted immediately laughed arrogantly, and showed obvious ridicule at Whitebeard. Ha ha ha, I must have consumed too much just now, I said before, this arrow will eventually eliminate you. Blackbeard knew how terrifying the power of shaking was, and with the cooperation of the power of darkness, the power produced would only be greater. Advertisement. Therefore, being directly hit by the shocking force in the front, even if he is not dead, he will have to be seriously injured. Blackbeard feels that his victory is set. Father. In the distance, Eroge, who was directly watching the battle, saw that Whitebeard was injured and immediately shouted. Brother Yalua wanted to come to help immediately, but his body was very difficult even to stand up. Damn it. Hasn't it recovered yet? Brother Aluo forced himself to stand up and then fell helplessly. He couldn't help regretting why he wanted to release that move. Just when Arrow Brother was worried, Whitebeard looked at Blackbeard blankly. Teach, I didn't tell you, don't you be happy too early. Whitebeard said calmly, as if he was teaching a child. What, Whitebeard, you? Blackbeard was shocked, and he realized that Whitebeard was not injured. The tone of this speech was still full of breath, and looking at the place where Whitebeard had been hit just now, there was no clear trace left. What's the matter? My attack clearly hit you, what did you do? Blackbeard was surprised and had forgotten to escape. Whitebeard squinted his eyes slightly, and grabbed Blackbeard's head with a thunderous hand. Whitebeard was tall, and the palm of his hand completely pinched Blackbeard's head, and a tremor gradually surged. Blackbeard couldn't move at all. At this moment, he was terrified. As long as Whitebeard used a little force, he would take a dog. Stop, Whitebeard. Father, I'm your son, you can't kill me. In desperation, Blackbeard screamed for mercy, his expression already distorted to the extreme with fear. Advertisement. At this time, San Juan also saw that Blackbeard was in danger, and immediately came over in 2 steps to catch Whitebeard. However, before San Juan's 2 palms were close to Whitebeard, an invisible force hit him in the abdomen. Go away, I don't want to kill you, but my patience is limited. Whitebeard kicked San Juan away with a shocking kick. San Juan's abdomen was hit by this shock and his whole body flew out. Although it was only 1 or 2 meters above the ground, the huge body still produced earthquake-like vibrations when it fell. San Juan spit out a mouthful of blood, his body was no longer able to stand up, but he was still in the palm of his hand in Blackbeard's direction, and wanted to save Blackbeard. Teach, only you are not worthy of being my son. Even my new son is better than you. Whitebeard said coldly. The reason why I didn't kill Blackbeard right away was because killing Blackbeard just like that didn't seem to be enough to relieve my breath. Therefore, at least let Blackbeard regret his actions before death, and painful. Father, I know I was wrong, let me go. Blackbeard shouted loudly. At this moment he had no choice but to beg for mercy. When Whitebeard grabbed his head, he couldn't use his strength anymore, and at such a close distance, as long as he did anything, his head would explode in the next moment. It's a pity that even someone like you has such a loyal subordinate. It's a waste. Whitebeard looked at San Juan, who was still struggling, and couldn't help but say. Father, let me go, I can take them all to join your pirate group, give me a chance, I will start again as a normal crew member. Blackbeard said with dilated pupils. Hearing this, Whitebeard's eyes let out a chill, and he suddenly pressed Blackbeard's head against the ground. Give you a chance to kill my captain. Chapter 244. Will count. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The ground where Blackbeard's head was hit was sunken, and he suddenly vomited blood, and his fear of Whitebeard reached its peak. In the distance, Brother Yaluo looked at all this. He was relieved suddenly. It turned out that the old man was not injured. Just now Blackbeard's blow, Whitebeard directly resisted it with his own body. Although Alor Jay knew that Whitebeard had a hard body before, he didn't expect it to be so strong. Shock fruit is just paramesha fruit after all, and it will not change the body in any way. Even if it is stronger than ordinary people, generally speaking, it will not surpass those with fruit ability. And the shock power that Blackbeard used just now, I'm afraid Joe's can't say that it can resist intact here. And this is still in the case of Joe's using all the defenses, it may not guarantee that he will not be injured. But Whitebeard didn't use any abilities, and just like that, he took Blackbeard's attack. This kind of physical strength just amazed Yaluo Jay, but Yaluo Jay did not have much reaction. After all, Whitebeard is already a myth in his mind, even if it is a bit weird, Arrow Jay and other captains will not find it difficult to accept. Father, kill him! Brother Yaluo began to shout loudly. Whitebeard glanced at the direction of Brother Alor, and did not answer, but continued to say to Blackbeard, "It's not impossible to let you go, but what is it for you to let you go?" Blackbeard's head started to move quickly, and he immediately replied, "Daddy, I can give you all my territory." Advertisement. Huh, your territory. Do you think I won't take it after you die? That's also a condition. Whitebeard mocked. But they will resist. I can directly let them submit to you. Blackbeard said. It doesn't seem to make a difference to me, and it doesn't cost much, you can think about it. Whitebeard said lightly. Blackbeard thought for a while and then said, in this case, I can help you attack other 4 emperors, so that it won't count as the Whitebeard pirates fighting against them and can avoid some trouble. Whitebeard sighed and said, forget it, it seems that you are really worthless to me, I'll kill you now. Whitebeard raised his broad knife, preparing to kill Blackbeard, and Blackbeard's pupils were widened to the extreme. And many more. Do you have anything to say? Whitebeard asked. I can transfer my fruit power to you. Blackbeard shouted. The ability to transfer fruit. Whitebeard squinted at him. Yes, how about it, so you can have 2 fruit abilities. Blackbeard said while the iron was hot. Gum ha ha ha. Whitebeard laughed suddenly. Teach, do you think I don't know what you think? If you have the power of 2 fruits, you will die. Blackbeard started to gasp quickly. He has been procrastinating for time, but still can't think of any way to save the situation. Damn, it's Whitebeard. Damn it, what should I do now? Blackbeard kept thinking in his head. Advertisement. Soon, Blackbeard still wanted to make a final fight. At such a close distance, if Whitebeard could be sneaked into, then maybe he could be killed directly. Although Whitebeard's body is strong, and even the shocking power can't hurt him, but Blackbeard is very confident in his secret power. The absorption effect of the dark power can ignore the defense, as long as it is touched, it instantly invalidates the opponent's fruit ability. At the same time, they suck the opponent into the dark space, and, at such a close distance, Blackbeard felt that once hit, Whitebeard would never escape. Therefore, Blackbeard's eyes showed a gleam of light instantly after making the decision, but this was her last chance, and the success or failure was all in this hand. Blackbeard was very cautious and didn't take it lightly. He planned to beg Whitebeard for mercy first, divert his attention, and then find the right time to attack. Father, I don't dare anymore, you believe me, if you think you can, I can also transfer the dark power to other people. While talking, Blackbeard quietly placed a hand behind his back, and at the same time began to gather secret power. This blow will be Blackbeard's last hope, so he dare not neglect the slightest, he wants to concentrate all his strength. Hearing what Blackbeard said, Whitebeard also hesitated. Although he does not covet the fruit of Blackbeard, because he is now invincible, but if the fruit can be transferred to other captains, then this is also a great joy for everyone. After all, if Blackbeard is killed, the fruits will be transformed into other fruits immediately, and it will take a lot of time to find them. Therefore, if you can add some strength to your captain, then it is naturally the best of both worlds. However, after all, Blackbeard, who owns dark fruit, does know how to transfer the fruit. However, Whitebeard does not intend to let Blackbeard go, but to make the best use of it, at least to get some useful information from Blackbeard. Advertisement. In addition, Whitebeard's eyes squinted slightly, and he could see every move of Blackbeard. What Blackbeard wanted to do at this moment What secret thoughts he had, Whitebeard could see through it at a glance. It's just that Whitebeard still wants to get more information from Blackbeard. He doesn't want Blackbeard to act on him now. Therefore, Whitebeard immediately showed a wave of Conqueror's Haki, covering his whole body. He stared at Blackbeard and said, "Ah, just use the dark power to limit the devil, and then find the corresponding fruit, and inject the dark power into this fruit at the same time. Then you can attract the devil to this fruit, so that you can get the devil fruit." Seeing Whitebeard Haki fully opened, Blackbeard knew that it was not a good time for a sneak attack. He could only tell Whitebeard about 1 to 150. This is the biggest secret of devil fruit. It is through this secret that Blackbeard can gather these many crew members. Because Blackbeard once promised them that he could help them get the devil fruit they wanted. Now, Blackbeard told Whitebeard this secret, which also means that he is really helpless now. At this time Blackbeard only hopes that this information can be exchanged for Whitebeard's trust. If Whitebeard changes his mind, he decides not to kill him. Then there is no need for Blackbeard to take risks and attack Whitebeard, so Blackbeard has been observing Whitebeard's expression. Talk about how to transfer the fruit. Quote. Chapter 245. The End of the War. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After hearing what Blackbeard said, Whitebeard also smiled slightly. He then said, "Well, if what you said is true, then I can consider spare you." Really? Blackbeard was suddenly surprised. Whitebeard looked serious and couldn't help but glared at him. Of course, what I said, Whitebeard, was never empty words. "Okay, I can prove it to you," Blackbeard said immediately. What Whitebeard said surprised Blackbeard, because he knew Whitebeard very well. It is true that Whitebeard has never said a lie in his life. As long as he said it, then he will go all out. On top of the war, in order to rescue Ace, Whitebeard used his huge power. Not only did he lose his position as the head of the 4 emperors, but he even got his life, although it didn't seem to be a real death now. But this kind of behavior, Blackbeard still trusts him very much. Since Whitebeard said so himself, Blackbeard had no doubts. It's just that, in the war just now, this area has been severely damaged. Even the boat on the sea was washed away, and the fruits that Blackbeard had prepared before were gone. "Father, there is no suitable fruit right now. Let's find the suitable fruit first. 9:30 I know there is a person on the island who owns very rare fruit." At this moment, Blackbeard calls Whitebeard the daddy. It is very unmarked and very natural, as if they were not enemies. "Oh, what kind of fruit is it?" Whitebeard was also interested. Advertisement. Water film fruit, with this ability, can even wander in the sea for a long time. Blackbeard immediately replied. "Then this is a bit interesting. If that's the case, then I will believe you once." After Whitebeard and Blackbeard agreed on a truce, Whitebeard grabbed Blackbeard and flew directly into the sky. "Hey, father, what are you doing? Is it possible to throw me in the sea?" Blackbeard was suddenly arrested, and he was also frightened. After all, Whitebeard didn't say anything, so he suddenly came in. "Quiet," Whitebeard said lightly. Because of the huge waves created by Whitebeard just now, the pirate boats that had been docked on the shore had been washed away, so Whitebeard was looking for those boats. After focusing on the ships, Whitebeard flew over. The gust of wind kept hitting Blackbeard, causing him to feel agitated, thinking that Whitebeard was really not something that mortals could fight against. "Father." There were also a few watchmen on the boat, and they shouted as soon as they saw Whitebeard. Whitebeard landed on the deck, threw Blackbeard to the ground, and said, "Take out the seastone handcuffs and put them on him." As one of the 4 emperors, although seastone handcuffs are rare, Whitebeard also got some from Marine. "Yes, father." They immediately took out the seastone handcuffs and locked Blackbeard. Blackbeard immediately fell to the ground due to his weakness, and his fruit power was unusable. Advertisement. "Father, is he Blackbeard? Why don't you just kill him?" A crew member asked. "It's my son after all," Whitebeard replied. Next, Whitebeard immediately ordered them to move the ship over, and at the same time, Whitebeard used the force of the shaking to trigger small waves, which constantly pushed the ship forward. Soon, all the ships returned to the shore, except for the ships of the Blackbeard pirates. "You go down and immediately take Arrow to the boat to heal his injuries. I'll go see the others," Whitebeard said to them. Next, Whitebeard took Blackbeard and flew all the way from the sky. In the forest close to the town, they saw the mess after the fierce battle. Marco, are you all right? Whitebeard first noticed Marco, and saw some scars on his body, so he flew off immediately. Father, have you defeated Blackbeard? We are over here, Marco said happily after seeing the subdued Blackbeard ABFA. Whitebeard's gaze swept around, and everyone on the Blackbeard pirate group had been subdued. However, Marco and others were all injured to varying degrees, and in the end there was strength, including Marco and Joe's and other captains. Even Beasta was seriously injured. Obviously, he was still struggling to fight Shiryu of Rain. In the end, he relied on other captains to defeat him. However, the injury is not a big problem, at least there were no deaths. Whitebeard thinks his captains have done a good job. Moreover, in this battle, there is still one person from the Whitebeard pirate group who did not make a shot, and that is Whitebeard 2. Because Whitebeard 2 fell asleep on the ship before the incident, but Whitebeard thought it was also good. This can exercise Marco and others more. If Whitebeard 2 participates in the war, then they may have a greater advantage here. In this way, there is almost no suspense between the Whitebeard pirates and the Blackbeard pirates. Advertisement. Moreover, it is precisely because of this hard fight that it is possible to temper Marco and others and test the results of their special training all the time. Now it seems that Marco and others have played very well, and their strength has made a qualitative leap. At this time, Yuji Shiryu and others were already subdued, and they felt disappointed after seeing Blackbeard being put on Seastone. Even the captain failed. It seems we really made the wrong choice. Pizarro couldn't help but said. Hey, don't talk about it now, it's useless to regret it now. Yuji Shiryu shook his head without showing any fear. Father, how do you deal with them now? Marco asked. Whitebeard glanced at these people. Although these people are very powerful, they are not suitable to be his own sons. However, Whitebeard didn't want to kill them all in this way. The current situation is that it is a pity to abandon and tasteless. Control these people first, and take them all to the boat. Whitebeard ordered. Because there were not too many seastone handcuffs, Diamond Joes sealed their hands and feet with diamonds. After bringing them all on the boat, Joes arranged a bucket for each of them to submerge more than half of their bodies with water. In this way, sea water can also replace seastone to limit their abilities. The battle between Whitebeard and Blackbeard pirates also came to an end. Except for Blackbeard and San Juan, everyone else was locked up on the ship. The captains of Whitebeard also returned to the boat to rest, only Marco was with Whitebeard, and now San Juan is more difficult to deal with. Such a huge body can't limit him at all. Chapter 246. Blackbeard begs for mercy. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. For the huge battleship of San Juan, Whitebeard also wanted to use him for his own use. After all, with such a big body, this guy can do many things for himself. And this man is not like the other Blackbeard crew members, he is more confused, a bit like Whitebeard too. If you recover it, then you should be very loyal. It's just that San Juan is too loyal to Blackbeard now, which is why Whitebeard doesn't kill him reason. If Blackbeard is killed now, it may cause San Juan's fierce resistance, and it will be impossible to regain him. So, Whitebeard waited for the opportunity and figured out a solution. Teach, your body is so big, I'm afraid you can't take him. Whitebeard said. Daddy, don't worry, this guy can swim in the sea, but can use him as a warship carrier. Blackbeard said. That's it. Whitebeard understood why this guy was called a huge battleship. Later, at Whitebeard's request, Blackbeard gave an order to San Juan to make him obey Whitebeard's arrangement. Whitebeard then ordered him to wait in place, and then Whitebeard was the proof before continuing with Blackbeard. In that case, then you are ready to start your proof. Whitebeard said. Okay. Blackbeard agreed. Blackbeard walked up to Tesla and said to Whitebeard, this is the man who has the water film fruit. When Marco saw this, he whispered in Whitebeard's ear, when we came, this man was fighting with the Blackbeard pirates, and Blackbeard was going to take his fruit. Advertisement. Well, I know. Whitebeard nodded. I heard that you are the master of this island, right? Whitebeard walked up to Tesla and asked. Tesla watched Whitebeard walk up to him, facing Whitebeard's tall body, he was speechless for a long time. Whitebeard, the legendary One Piece, turned out to be true, standing in front of me. Tesla was first excited, but also full of doubts about Whitebeard's behavior at this time. He obviously defeated Blackbeard, why didn't he kill him? Instead, He still has such a friendly conversation. Tesla didn't understand what Whitebeard was going to do, but he was faintly disturbed. Because Blackbeard had exposed before and wanted to take his fruit power. Therefore, in this case, it is difficult for Tesla not to think in this direction. But more importantly, Tesla does not believe that Whitebeard will do the same. He admired Whitebeard very much. Before he could escape from the dead, it was Whitebeard who saved him. But now, Tesla didn't say a word. Whitebeard frowned slightly, sank the knife to the ground, and a wave of majesty erupted. Why didn't you answer my question? Whitebeard's voice stunned Tesla, and he slowly replied, I am the king of the island. This island has no owner. It is governed by several families. Wang Dao. What is it? But it doesn't matter. I heard that you have a very rare water film fruit. I don't know if you can let it out. Whitebeard said lightly. When he heard the last sentence, Tesla's heart shook violently, as if he had been pressed by a stone. Advertisement. It is as expected. For this result, Tesla is also full of despair. The world is indeed impermanent. The person who saved his own just now is about to take his own life, and with the power of his own fruit. This is a bit too funny. Anyway, I can't resist now. You still ask me what to do. Tesla replied desperately. Guhahaha. Whitebeard, is not a robber. I want to get your fruit power. Of course, I need your willingness. Whitebeard laughed loudly. Tesla felt unbelievable. Even Marco didn't quite understand what Whitebeard meant. Did he want to kill this person or just scare him? Speaking of which, although Marco has just met Tesla, he admires Tesla very much. Tesla said that he is not the master of the island, just a kind of kingly way, but the concern he has shown for the residents of the island before is absolutely true. On this basis, Marco also admired him very much, so Marco made up his mind if Whitebeard really meant it. If Whitebeard really wants to kill Tesla, then he will definitely stand up against it. This Blackbeard, what the hell did you say to the old man? He won't really want to take his fruit. Marco was worried in his heart. Zero seeking flowers. Zero. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Do you still need my willingness to kill me? Tesla asked suspiciously. To kill a person, you have to ask him what he meant. Isn't this a joke? Who can voluntarily agree to let others kill themselves? At this time, Blackbeard has poured the power of darkness into the fruit. He smiled and said to Whitebeard, Daddy, it's done, it's almost ready to start. That's it, but this person doesn't seem to agree with us taking his fruit. Whitebeard said, slightly troubled. Father, what do you mean? Blackbeard's face suddenly changed, with a foreboding that things were not going well. Advertisement. I think we should cancel the previous agreement. I believe your approach is correct, but there is no need to experiment. Whitebeard said. Point 0. Tesla was relieved immediately, but he still didn't know why. Father, what about me? Blackbeard asked tremblingly. I promised Sachi that I must avenge him. You know, I said, Whitebeard is the same, how can I not keep my promise? Whitebeard said with a smile. Whitebeard. Damn, you promised me to spare my life. Blackbeard shouted suddenly. Yes, I haven't forgotten. Then why? But, I remember that my original words should be considered to be around you, but I haven't said that I will spare you, and I have already considered it clearly. Before Blackbeard had finished speaking, Whitebeard added. Whitebeard, the boss of Blackbeard's pupils was staring. He didn't expect Whitebeard to play this hand with him. This made Blackbeard extremely angry. I'm fighting with you. Blackbeard also had no scruples at this time, directly centering on itself, spreading out a dark area. The black matter is like a black hole, continuously spreading towards the surroundings, and all the trees or other things that come into contact with it are all sucked into it. Marco, you take him out of here first. Whitebeard said to Marco. Understand. Marco agreed, turning into a phoenix, and flew Tesla into the sky. End. Chapter 247. Behead Blackbeard. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Damn it, hate it. Blackbeard's angry voice kept echoing in the forest. At the same time, the black hole around him is expanding faster and faster. This is Blackbeard's strongest range move. If it continues to spread, it can even swallow the entire island completely until the end. Facing the black hole gradually spreading towards him, Whitebeard did not move at all. A burst of hockey burst out of Whitebeard's body, and the imperial hockey covered Whitebeard's whole body. Afterwards, Whitebeard swung a big sword, and a sharp sword light instantly slashed out, as if it was about to split the sky. This sword energy instantly crossed Blackbeard's body. His body was cut in half, but he had not died immediately. Haha, kill me, this black hole won't stop immediately. I want 930 to bury you all. Blackbeard said with a twisted expression. Huh, then try it. Whitebeard shook his hand, and a huge spherical space appeared out of thin air. It is a special space formed by the force of the earthquake, and Whitebeard used it as a barrier in the past. And now, that huge spherical space completely enveloped Blackbeard's dark power. A burst of imperial color hockey then injected into the space, trapping Blackbeard's dark power tightly in it, and could no longer spread anymore. What? Advertisement. The blood from the corner of Blackbeard's mouth kept flowing out, and he felt that his life was constantly passing by, but he was even more disappointed that this move was controlled by Whitebeard. Originally Blackbeard wanted to use this trick to make Whitebeard unable to successfully obtain his own fruits, but now, he can do nothing. As long as he died, the power of the devil would be attached to the fruit smoothly, and Blackbeard could not accept this. And the next moment, Whitebeard's figure instantly moved in front of Blackbeard, and a hand held his head like lightning. Goodbye, Teach, my son, go to hell to repent. The shocking power in the palm of his hand exploded like a dazzling light, and Blackbeard suddenly turned into a bloody flower in fear. Blackbeard, this incredible 4 emperors, just died. Sadly, no one knew about Blackbeard's death. After Blackbeard's death, the power of the demons in his body also drifted out randomly. Whitebeard used the power of the shock to create a closed space, and the power of the devil was randomly attached to the fruit that had been injected with the power of darkness. A new dark fruit was born. Whitebeard raised his palm, and dark fruit was attracted to him immediately. As that dark fruit, it actually seized Blackbeard's power. Marco understood Whitebeard's purpose, and his eyes looked at the fruit in amazement. Marco flew down with Tesla and said to Whitebeard, Daddy, is this the dark fruit? Sachi died because of this fruit. Yeah, this is dark fruit. Put the fruit away first. Whitebeard threw the fruit to Marco. Marco immediately took the fruit and stored it, and then Whitebeard asked about Tesla. Advertisement. Knowing that Tesla does not have its own pirate group, and has always been a lone ranger, Whitebeard deliberately wanted to take Tesla as his captain. While Whitebeard was talking to Tesla, the residents of the surrounding towns suddenly came from all directions. God! These residents knelt in the direction of Whitebeard and shouted loudly. Seeing this situation, Tesla's eyes flickered, because he knew that this was a ritual used by the residents to worship the kingly way. Whoever is the most capable on this stepped island is qualified to be the king of this island. Everyone can see the power previously demonstrated by Whitebeard. That kind of terrifying power is enough to cause earthquakes and tsunamis, and can easily destroy their island. In addition, because the Blackbeard pirates defeated their original kingly way, that is, Tesla. Whitebeard defeated these people and killed Blackbeard. In this case, he was regarded as the benefactor of Steppe Island. What's the matter with these people? Are you thanking us? Marco asked questioningly. It was the first time he saw someone who was passionate about the pirate. The significance of this island's existence is Mu Chang. Captain Whitebeard's strength can protect them all, therefore, people worship him as a kingly way. Tesla explained. Ha ha ha, Tesla, since you are the king here, you can continue to serve for so long, but you have to be my captain at the same time, what do you think? Whitebeard doesn't care about this island, he hopes to get Tesla even more, and as long as Tesla becomes his captain, the latter island naturally belongs to his own territory. Seeing Whitebeard so generous, Tesla was also quite moved. But, my ability, can I really be the captain? Tesla said flattered. Advertisement. Tesla had personally seen the strength of these captains under Whitebeard before, especially Marco and Arogo. The continuous fighting ability displayed by Marco really surprised Tesla. He felt that he was absolutely inferior to him in that situation. At the same time, Jay Arrow is also very tough, and he has created such a wide range of tricks, I am afraid that he can fight Admiral. But more importantly, this man, who has been called the One Piece by many people, is actually inviting himself, which is absolutely a great honor. Tesla was silent for a while, and he looked at the sky in the distance. After waiting for so long, I finally waited for the only captain today. It seems that God still favors me. Tesla sighed silently in his heart. After a while, He also made up his mind to give up the comfortable life on Stair Island and follow Whitebeard 5.0. I can agree, but I have a request. Tesla said suddenly. You said. Whitebeard looked at him. I hope to stay here for a while. Tesla said, and he didn't want to leave here with Whitebeard right away. Whitebeard nodded. That's fine. Give Tesla some time to get used to it, and it's nothing. No problem. Just come to me as soon as you settle your business. Whitebeard said. In order to express gratitude to the Whitebeard pirates, and at the same time, at the strong invitation of Tesla, the residents of Step Island prepared a festive banquet for them. Whitebeard and others stayed here for one night and attended the banquet. At the banquet, Tesla publicly stated that it is setting up a position above the King's Way, the King's Way. Chapter 248. Disposal. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The Royal Road is above the Royal Road. It is only a nominal symbol, and it also represents Whitebeard's guardianship here. Upon hearing Tesla's suggestion, all the residents present agreed to it. This is Whitebeard. If you can put a name on their island, I am afraid that no pirates will offend you in the future. For the people on Stair Island, Whitebeard's name can be a barrier to protect them from infringement. I don't care anymore. Leave it to you. As long as you can my pirate ship, everything is easy to say. Whitebeard agreed without thinking. Haha, that's great. From now on, I don't think anyone will attack Ladder Island. Tesla seemed very happy, because in this way, he would not have to guard here all the time. Even if he left, it would be absolutely safe here. At the banquet, Marco also raised some questions. Father, what should the members of the Blackbeard pirate group do? Marco asked. The other captains also expressed interest in this, and they all looked at Whitebeard. Compared with Blackbeard, these people are not so heinous for them. Killing Blackbeard is enough to dispel their hatred. And killing all these people won't get any benefit. On the contrary, it's a bit wasteful, so they all want to know what to do with old Whitebeard. Whitebeard thought about it for a moment and replied, I heard that many of these people are impelled down prisoners. In that case, let it be handed over to the Marine government for a long time. Give it to the Marine government. Marco and others were shocked. They felt that Whitebeard's approach was inconsistent with the past. Advertisement. After all, things between pirates are usually settled between pirates, and they generally don't have any contact with Marine. Father, in this way, will other four emperors suspect that we are in collusion with Marine, and thus unite to be hostile to us? Marco immediately raised doubts. After all, every move of the four emperors is a big event, and the news of their defeat of the Blackbeard pirates will also spread to all over the world in the near future. At the same time, if they hand over the remnants of the Blackbeard pirates to the Marine government, the news will also be known by the major forces. One Four Emperors regiment defeated another Four Emperors regiment, and they sent everyone to the Marine government and put them in prison again. Such news is definitely exploding. Anyone who listens to it will think that the Whitebeard pirates and the Marine government have some kind of ulterior secret. At that time, I am afraid that the pressure on Auntie and Kaido will become unprecedentedly great. Together, they will also pose a big threat to the Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard also understood what Marco and others were worried about, but he didn't care about it. Ant and Kaido are united. That's great, lest she fight one by one, so it will save effort to fight together. As for the purpose of Whitebeard's doing this, he certainly has conditions for the Marine government. Whitebeard will not be a good person to the Marine government in vain and help them catch so many criminals. Of course, he has to dig some benefits. Don't worry, Marco. I believe your strength, my strength. You have nothing to doubt, so let go of your guts. Whitebeard said confidently. Understood, old man. After the banquet, the Whitebeard pirates was ready to leave the next day. If Bai Jing was delayed for too long, other forces would be ready to move. Advertisement. However, when he left, San Juan kept asking where Blackbeard had gone. He didn't know that Blackbeard had been killed. Whitebeard also has some headaches about this. He must let San Juan forget Blackbeard, otherwise San Juan will never truly be loyal to him. San Juan, Blackbeard is no longer there. I will give you a chance to challenge me. As long as you beat me, I will let you go. You can also seek revenge from me at any time. If you lose, then you will become my son. How about it? Whitebeard looked at San Juan with an indifferent expression and said, as soon as he heard the news, San Juan immediately began to cry. Crybaby, Bai grows such a big body. Seeing San Juan crying bitterly, Whitebeard too on the ship sneered. They were all able to set sail. It was because of this San Juan that wasted time, and they are still crying here. This made Whitebeard too feel very upset, but the most important thing is that Whitebeard too missed the battle between the two pirate groups because of his sleepiness. This made Whitebeard too very annoyed, and no one can be blamed, just because of his own reasons. Therefore, Whitebeard too is in a bad mood right now, and at the same time he also wants to find a chance to fight this San Juan. And hearing Whitebeard I's mockery of himself, San Juan started to fight back like a child. You are the crying ghost, believe it or not, I will take you to pieces. San Juan countered. HMPH, come if you have the ability, don't let me beat you up and you start crying again. Whitebeard too said without showing any weakness. These two guys, Marco was like the eldest brother of the same group of children, feeling very speechless. Advertisement. Do you think that these two people are like a pair of treasures when they are together? Joe said, patted Marco on the shoulder. Haha, that's true, this San Juan is good for Whitebeard I's 930, lest he always make trouble on the boat and start sleeping after the trouble. Marco thought for a while and said. The worst thing is that I woke up and found that I missed a battle. Aragorn suddenly added with a smile. Ha ha ha. There was a burst of laughter on the boat. You think I can't hear it? When Whitebeard too heard these people joking, he turned his head and glared at them. How come? We are just joking. Marco immediately explained. We are not afraid of you now, and we will go back to practice afterwards. Kaido Yaluo tit for tat. You. The veins of Whitebeard too suddenly swelled a lot, and his face flushed anxiously. It's okay. Don't tease him. Seeing that Whitebeard too was about to jump, Whitebeard suddenly criticized Marco and others symbolically. Whitebeard looked at San Juan again and asked, how about? You can choose not to fight me, or you can choose him. Whitebeard said that he was Whitebeard too, and San Juan's eyes suddenly lit up. San Juan felt that Whitebeard really couldn't beat it himself, after all, he had seen his power before. San Juan's head is relatively straight. Chapter 249. Tuan Mie Blackbeard Pirate Group. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In front of this person, San Juan took a serious look at Whitebeard too and found that this guy had the same beard and broadsword as Whitebeard. The body shape is different. Whitebeard I's body is relatively fat, while Whitebeard has very strong muscles. And he was so big that he could crush this guy to death. After thinking about it, San Juan nodded. Upon seeing this, Whitebeard said to Whitebeard too, how about, Wable, accept his challenge. Whitebeard too immediately sank the big knife to the ground, and replied arrogantly, what's not to dare? Seeing this situation, Beasta immediately said to Marco, this one really looks like an old man. Really, but the old man has already said that this is not his son, so don't make trouble. Marco said. Whitebeard too and San Juan quickly walked to a wide area, and the two stood facing each other. Whitebeard too faced San Juan. Although he himself was very small, he was not weak in momentum. Instead, he overpowered San Juan. After all, although they have similar personalities, they have different environments. Whitebeard too has been on the Whitebeard ship for a while. Therefore, every day in contact with a king like Whitebeard, Whitebeard I's own temperament has gradually changed. The lateness of the king's spleen is definitely not something ordinary people can imitate. It is a kind of absolute confidence in one's own power. Advertisement. The Whitebeard pirates began to watch good shows, but Eroge was a little worried, and he quietly came to Whitebeard's side. Father, will there be any problems with this? I don't think Whitebeard too is San Juan's opponent. Arog said quietly to Whitebeard. Why do you say that? Whitebeard asked. Because I have fought with San Juan before, his physical strength and willpower are really terrifying, and he passed through my super tornado directly. Eroge replied seriously. Although Arago and Whitebeard too didn't really fight, they stayed on the boat with Whitebeard too for so long. Arago also has a certain understanding of the strength of Whitebeard too, and at the same time, he also has his own judgment on San Juan. Between these two, Arago felt that Whitebeard too might be weaker than San Juan. After Whitebeard listened, he shook his head and smiled. You still underestimate the potential of Whitebeard too. Trust him. Whitebeard knows very well that Alorge and others do not understand the true strength of Whitebeard too. Of course, this is also normal. Because when Whitebeard too got on the ship, his edge has been suppressed by Whitebeard. Ordinary duels will not show real strength, so these people who get along with him may not be able to understand. The battle soon began, and Whitebeard 2 first launched an attack on San Juan. Whitebeard 2 wields a big knife. He doesn't have any special skills, but he has terrifying power. Therefore, in the past, when facing the enemy, Whitebeard 2 could defeat the enemy with just one swipe like this. But now, all Whitebeard II's attacks hit San Juan's body without causing a trace. Advertisement. HMPH, are you scratching me? San Juan stretched out his palm suddenly, trying to catch Whitebeard 2. Whitebeard 2 suddenly jumped up, avoided his palm, and stood on his arm at the same time. Let you taste my power. Whitebeard 2 was also a little angry at this time, and even greater power suddenly burst out from the center of his body. The space seemed to be shocked by this power, and Whitebeard II's next blow directly pierced San Juan's arm. I saw the tip of Whitebeard II's big knife pierced straight into the muscles of San Juan's arm, although this ratio was like a toothpick for San Juan. And he didn't even pierce his own blood vessels, but the power contained in it made him feel painful. This force even caused San Juan's body to receive some vibrations, and he immediately yelled, becoming annoyed and wanted to shoot Whitebeard 2 to death. As San Juan continued to furiously attack, Whitebeard 2 also began to retreat, and he did not dare to withstand this attack abruptly. After all, the size of San Juan alone contained a huge weight, and coupled with his strength, after this blow, I didn't know how powerful it was. With San Juan's blow, I'm afraid it would be able to level a hill easily. At this level, Whitebeard 2 could only dodge constantly. It's just that San Juan's palm is very huge, and it takes a lot of effort to completely dodge every attack. It seems that San Juan has the upper hand and Whitebeard 2 has become passive, but in fact, San Juan cannot catch Whitebeard 2 at all. Instead, once San Juan slackened, Whitebeard 2 would take the opportunity to do this on San Juan. After all, such a huge body does not require much effort at all to leave a trace in it. Advertisement. Soon, Whitebeard 2 left a dozen small holes in San Juan's body, all of which were pierced by his big knife. However, neither of the two sides have the ability to launch a fatal blow to the other side, so they are constantly gambling with each other. Come on, Wable. The Whitebeard pirates began to cheer for Whitebeard 2. Of course, this does not mean how much they like Whitebeard 2, just because Whitebeard 2 is a crew member on his side after all. And this call was also noticed by Shiryu and others on the boat. Rain of Shiryu and others are locked in a small room on the ship. They are all locked in chains and guarded. After hearing the movement outside, Noruo's good, Yuji Shiryu began to peek through the window, which happened to be facing them on this side of the window. What happened outside? Badgers asked immediately. Yuji Shiryu watched for a while, then replied, in the fight, it's a wolf and a person on the Whitebeard boat. They don't know the pole. San Juan. Does he refuse to surrender? Badges asked. Hey, Blackbeard is already dead, there is nothing else I can't let go of. At this moment Caitlin couldn't help sighing. They had also heard of Blackbeard's death from the crew of the Whitebeard ship before. Originally, she thought that after following Blackbeard, she would be able to make a name for herself in the sea, become famous, dominate the sea, and do whatever she wants. It now appears that although Blackbeard has become the four emperors for a short period of time, he is ultimately no match for Whitebeard, the chosen person, and ended up in a dead end. Chapter 250. There is no Blackbeard in the world. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This Whitebeard is outrageous, and the top war is obviously like that, and it can survive. Pizarro couldn't help complaining. Speaking of, if we and Whitebeard have no grudges, he shouldn't act on us so quickly, then we have enough time to expand. Lafitte said. What's the use of saying these now? Really, if we knew it, we would not go with Blackbeard at all. Basque said. When Blackbeard came to the 6th floor of the Impel Down prison, he said that he would choose his crew and let everyone kill each other. Basque and others came to the fore, but the freedom and scenery in the original imagination did not last long, and everything fell into vain. This is all because we want to rely on Blackbeard's abilities so much, he can take the fruits we each want, otherwise, he will not be the captain. Shiryu of Rain said. That's right, I can't understand him as a captain for a long time, and every time you put forward an opinion, each of you supports me. Pizarro said. Don't say so much, how's the situation going? San Juan can win, right? Catherine asked. What can I do if I win the battle? Is it possible to escape? I am afraid that I will be abused. 930. It's a pity that I am so loyal to Blackbeard, but this is the end. Pizarro said. Everyone couldn't help being silent and not talking. They didn't know what their fate would be in the future, but it would certainly not be very good. The battle between Whitebeard II and San Juan has lasted for half a day, and in this half a day, San Juan is still being injured. But they were all minor injuries. Therefore, the two men still showed no signs of defeat. Father, how long do we have to wait for this to continue? I'm afraid it won't end for a while. Marco said to Whitebeard. Advertisement. After all, they are all going back in a hurry, waiting here all the time. It is undoubtedly a waste of their time. Whitebeard also nodded, and then stepped forward to the two men and said, since you have been fighting for so long and it hasn't ended, then I'll urge it. Whitebeard II Crane San Juan heard Whitebeard's voice a little dazed, and didn't know what Whitebeard was going to do. After Whitebeard finished speaking, he flew into the air and came to the center of Whitebeard II and San Juan. At this time, the distance between the Whitehu ABFA and the two is about the same. I saw Whitebeard hit both fists at the same time, and the two tremors exploded immediately. The power of these two shocks hit two directions respectively, and there is no difference in power. The strong airflow and pressure immediately made Whitebeard II and San Juan both feel dangerous, and they immediately made a defensive action. The force of the tremor soon exploded in front of them, the space shattered and the ground shook. The dust on the ground was raised 10 meters high, and Whitebeard II was instantly repelled by this force. And San Juan also fell because of loss of balance, shaking the ground again. Father, what are you doing? Whitebeard II immediately complained to Whitebeard after steadying his figure. San Juan slowly got up from the ground. He didn't know why Whitebeard suddenly shot, and also attacked their own people. I saw Whitebeard slowly saying, since you can't tell a winner, then I will add a little difficulty to you. After the shock of Whitebeard's shocking force, San Juan and Whitebeard II both suffered considerable damage. Advertisement. This weakened their physical strength to a certain extent, and by this time, both of them understood the seriousness of the matter. If they continue to evenly split like this, then maybe Whitebeard will make another shot. Moreover, being unable to defeat each other all the time, it also made the two of them feel a little impatient. Don't worry, Daddy, I will fix him soon. Whitebeard II promised. It's definitely you who fell first. San Juan replied, not to be outdone. Then, the two men fought fiercely again, both of whom were representatives of the power system. Basically, there is no fancy operation, all of which are actual strength collisions. Under such intensity, the winner is quickly divided. Although San Juan has the advantage of weight and can use his own gravity to oppress Whitebeard II, this is also his shortcoming. Because San Juan is too large, he consumes more energy. In the long battle, San Juan obviously couldn't have the same endurance as Whitebeard II. Therefore, it was Whitebeard II who defeated the Holy Lake in the end. In the face of failure, San Juan also did not intend to fall back on the bill. He sat on the ground tired and silent for a while before saying to Whitebeard, I lost, and I will be your son from now on. San Juan straightened his head, and he followed Whitebeard's agreement very much, which also made Whitebeard admire. Well, from now on, in the name of me, Whitebeard, let's make a fuss about this see. Whitebeard said happily. Advertisement. It's finally over, Daddy, let's go back right away. Marco said after seeing the end of the battle. Don't worry, didn't you see San Juan needs a rest? Whitebeard said. San Juan is so big that he needs to swim all the way back then, and now he has just gone through a battle, of course he is not physically strong. Therefore, in order for San Juan to regain some strength, it is natural to continue to wait for some time on the island. On the island, Tesla led the people to build a statue for Whitebeard. Although they now have Whitebeard's asylum, it is impossible for Whitebeard to send someone to stay here at any time. At the same time, it is inevitable that some pirates who don't know the sky and the earth are thick, they don't know that this is the site of Whitebeard. Therefore, it is not only to commemorate Whitebeard and to demonstrate the majesty of Whitebeard's imperial way, but also to deter those pirates who want to behave on the island in vain. Tesla intends to use the hardest mineral on the island to build the statue, which can prevent the statue from being corroded by wind and rain. After half a day's rest, San Juan was almost recovered. After all, the Whitebeard pirates prepared a meal for him. So, the Whitebeard pirate group began its return journey. When it came, there were 4 pirate ships, and when it came back, there were already 6. Because San Juan also has a huge body, it is a moving ship on the sea, and at the same time, they also found the Blackbeard pirate ship. Therefore, the ship of the Blackbeard pirate group was naturally taken back together, and the Blackbeard flag on the ship was also changed to the Whitebeard flag. Standing on the shore, Tesla watched the departure of the Whitebeard pirates and waved slightly. Chapter 251. Red Call. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Father, I will go there as soon as possible, Tesla said in his heart. Although Tesla also wanted to leave with Whitebeard at this moment, he felt that he could not be so headstrong. He felt that he still needed to arrange the latter island well and arrange some defensive measures. However, Whitebeard believed him so much, and it also surprised Tesla. After all, I don't know if he sleeps, will he wait for Whitebeard to leave and leave here immediately, failing to abide by the agreement to take refuge in Whitebeard? You know, Whitebeard has mastered the method of capturing the fruit, and the fruit on his body. Although not much powerful, it is definitely a rare fruit with a certain potential. But Whitebeard believed him so much and gave him free time to do his own thing. All of this made Tesla even more immersed in the charm of Whitebeard. The Whitebeard pirate group also showed a very lively atmosphere on the way back. After all, they had just eliminated a 4 Emperors pirate group. The battle was extremely easy for them, and the ordinary crew did not even have a chance to play. Of course, this is all because Blackbeard did not have the determination to compete with Whitebeard at all, but instead strayed directly with the main force. If the Blackbeard pirates tried their best from the beginning to gather all the forces, the battle would be much fierce. But Blackbeard didn't do that. If of course he was desperate and broke the boat, then the result would not change. However, the Whitebeard pirate group will definitely have a lot of losses, and now, they did not pay much to destroy a 4 Emperors pirate group. This is definitely a great success, and there is no small luck in it. Advertisement. Therefore, the crew were very happy and excited, and they also had a party on the sea. Whitebeard really enjoyed the carnival scene of his sons when they were partying and saw them partying unfettered on the sea. Whitebeard is also very happy in his heart, and his sons are free and comfortable under their own protection. Let's go. Let's go. The phone worm rang suddenly. Because Whitebeard was right next to him, he didn't go to the party, so he answered the phone right away. Hey, is it Shanks? Whitebeard asked. Generally, Shanks is the most likely to call at this time. This guy is nosy, and Whitebeard didn't guess wrong. Whitebeard, how is the situation? Have you defeated the Blackbeard pirates? Shanks' voice came from over there. Yes, he is dead. Whitebeard replied calmly. What? On the other side of the phone, Shanks was visibly surprised, but he quickly recovered his calm. Then the crew of the Blackbeard pirates, what did you do? Shanks asked again. Why, are you interested in this? Whitebeard was curious about Shanks' thoughts. I think you should hand them over to the Marine government, Shanks said. Hearing that, Whitebeard was also slightly surprised, but Shanks didn't expect Shanks to be the same as he thought. Why? Whitebeard asked deliberately. Advertisement. You just eliminated a 4 Emperors, although it seems that Marine has made a profit, because they think the 4 Emperors' internal fighting is the best situation. But the key point is that your current strength has aroused the jealousy of the high-level government. Now that you have eliminated a 4 Emperors group so quickly, this will definitely shock the high levels. Shanks's tone is very serious, and seems to have a thorough understanding of the Marine government's thoughts. However, this was within Whitebeard's expectation. Whitebeard knew that the Marine government would definitely be very taboo against him now. This fear existed before, but now he defeated the Blackbeard pirates, which undoubtedly amplified this fear. So what? If the Marine government has any comments, just come to me. Whitebeard said confidently. They won't come to you now, but they will definitely prevent you from acquiring the power of Blackbeard, because once you swallow all of Blackbeard's power, then you will be the most difficult pirate to deal with in the entire sea. While Shanks was still talking, Whitebeard interrupted him. You mean, in order to prevent Marine from targeting me for a short period of time, so all the remnants of the Blackbeard pirates were handed over to Marine, at least on the surface to maintain some cooperative relations. Zero seeking flowers, zero. That's it, Shanks replied. Hearing that, Whitebeard couldn't help shook his head, because doesn't it represent a compromise with Marine, although Whitebeard and Shanks are the same in action, but their ideas are different. Shanks, I don't agree with your idea, you should know, although I am now called the One Piece by some people. But this is just what the Marine government deliberately propagated to paralyze me. They have their own goals. I am not the One Piece in the true sense. A large sea can contain no more than several emperors. Sooner or later I will clear all the pirate groups. Shanks, you should also be prepared for this. Advertisement. ... In order to become the One Piece, how can I be afraid of Marine? If I don't have the strength to resist, then I don't need to be the One Piece. After a few words, Shanks couldn't answer what Shanks had said, and he fell silent immediately. Yes, you are right. If you can't resist the Marine government halfway, you don't have the qualifications to become One Piece. Shanks replied after a while, and he couldn't help but think of Roger. But Roger was eventually caught and sentenced by Marine, so Shanks didn't want Whitebeard to follow Roger's footsteps. So what are you going to do? Shanks asked again. I will also hand them over to the Marine government. Whitebeard said. What? However, I have different ideas from yours. I am not trying to express a compromise with Marine. In order to temporarily harmonize with Marine, I want to exchange some conditions with them. Whitebeard explained. It turned out to be like this. Shanks suddenly relaxed a little. Although Whitebeard had different ideas from him, it was good that his final behavior was consistent with what he had hoped. Shanks, you really worry about me, aren't you the Straw Hat Boy who loves you? Why don't you care about him more? Whitebeard joked. The Straw Hat Boy has a lucky person to take care of him, and I don't need to stare at him all the time. Shanks replied. All right, let's stop here. Whitebeard hung up. Daddy, is it Shanks? Marco walked over and asked. And. Chapter 252. New Fruit Ability. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Ha ha ha. Don't worry about it. When it comes to the Marine branch, you can contact Marine. Whitebeard confessed to Marco, and after Marco agreed, he immediately returned to the party's carnival. Whitebeard was drinking alone. Although people kept coming to toast him, Whitebeard wanted to be quiet for a while. At this time, Whitebeard was thinking about several issues, that is, how to make his request to the Marine government. If he is too sharp, then the Marine government is bound to be too nervous and will not agree to his terms. The other is the handling of dark fruit. After Blackbeard died, he got dark fruit. Whitebeard didn't need this thing himself. Whitebeard's current strength has no fear of any opponent in the world, not to mention. Seeing Whitebeard's mind moved, a luxurious 947 card appeared in his hand. Open black lens bracket autonomous transformation. Shock fruit ability can imitate the effects of other fruit abilities, and on this basis it has both shocking power. Close black lens bracket. This was obtained by Whitebeard after killing Blackbeard, so at this time Whitebeard did not ask for other fruit abilities, which was meaningless. What Whitebeard wanted was to give this fruit to his captain, or to store it first, and give it to him when there is a better candidate in the future. As far as Whitebeard's 4 captains are concerned, Marco, Jose, and Arogo all have fruits and can't eat other fruits. Advertisement. Although Beasta has no fruit, his current swordsmanship achievements are already very penultimate. If he is given dark fruit, his swordsmanship will be restricted instead. At the same time, Beasta's age is also relatively high, and Whitebeard wants to give the fruit to a younger person. After all, it is easier to develop the power of the fruit when you are young, and it is easier to awaken the fruit. At present, there is no one on their ship who is more satisfied with Whitebeard, so it is better for Whitebeard to keep it after thinking about it. On the other hand, Whitebeard intends to adjust his pirate group, and Tesla will join his pirate group soon. Whitebeard intends to make these 5 people his main force, that is, the 5 generals of the Whitebeard pirates. Therefore, Whitebeard rearranged the captain to make it easier and clearer in the future. First of all, Marco is still the captain of the first team, Jose is the second captain, Beasta is the third captain, Arogo is the fourth captain, and Tesla will be the 5th captain in the future. Of course, these captains changed with their previous teams. After all, each captain is familiar with his own team. From now on, these 5 people will be the main force of Whitebeard. In addition, San Juan and Whitebeard too will be his protectors. Both of them are more loyal, and they are also very obedient to orders. At the same time, they are not suitable to be in charge of the team, so they are very suitable for Whitebeard as a guardian. However, speaking of it, Whitebeard also cares more about the other person. That's what he asked Joes to contact before, Enel of Sky Island. Although Whitebeard knew that Enel was no longer in Sky Island, he was in Infinite Land. But in Sky Island, there is still a way to contact Enel. After all, this was once the place where Enel ruled. Advertisement. On Sky Island, there is still a trace of Enel's heart net power, but the current Enel may not have much knowledge of Whitebeard. But Whitebeard knows that Enel has a powerful thunder and lightning fruit. If this subordinate can be obtained, then the strength of the Whitebeard pirate group will skyrocket. Therefore, when Whitebeard asked Joes to contact Enel, he used a trick to deceive him. That is the Infinite Ocean. Enel's dream is to go to the Infinite Land. Then Whitebeard will tell him that the world still has a vast and boundless place than the Infinite Land. That is the Infinite Ocean. The ocean is the most expansive in the world, and his Whitebeard will eventually become the freest one piece in the ocean. This reason may be able to attract Enel, but Whitebeard does not know when Enel will come back. But no matter what, Whitebeard believes that Enel will come, and no matter how rebellious he is, Whitebeard has a way to successfully subdue and control him. Unknowingly, the Whitebeard pirates approached a branch of Marine. Of course, this is the route that Whitebeard has long established, and during the return journey, a deal has to be made with the Marine government. As the Marine branch of New World, this place is naturally extremely vigilant. When the Whitebeard pirates were still far away, Marine found them zero. Dirk Vice Admiral, there are pirate groups in our observable waters, and there are many in number. After Marine sentry spotted Whitebeard and them, they immediately reported it to the highest commander here. Dirk Vice Admiral is the head of this Marine branch, and of course there are some other Marine officials. Vice Admiral who can perform tasks in New World must have two brushes. Advertisement. What? Shouldn't it be Dirk Vice Admiral? After receiving the report, with his keen sense of smell, he immediately thought it might be that man. So Dirk Vice Admiral immediately went to check it out in person. When he picked up the telescope, 5 large pirate ships appeared on the other side, and the sea behind was followed by a huge monster. That is, the Whitebeard pirates. Dirk Vice Admiral quickly spotted the banner above. This is the same as Dirk Vice Admiral guessed. He had heard that the Whitebeard pirates sent Blackbeard to launch a chase before, but he didn't expect Whitebeard to appear here in such a short time. Could it be that the battle is over? Has the Blackbeard pirate been wiped out? Dirk Vice Admiral was a little shocked. The battle between the 4 emperors shouldn't be just such a splash. However, Dirk Vice Admiral is only guessing, and now, the direction of the Whitebeard pirate group seems to be towards their marine. All units immediately entered the first level combat alert state 5.0, but without my order, no one was allowed to attack rashly. Dirk Vice Admiral immediately arranged a series of battle deployments, facing a 4 emperors, and Whitebeard, the real Sea Emperor. This Marine branch, which could have been regarded as solid, doesn't seem to be so reliable at this moment. Dirk Vice Admiral still doesn't know the purpose of the Whitebeard pirate approaching here, but if Whitebeard is really hostile, he just hopes to do his best to fight. After all, as a member of Marine, he can't humiliate Marine. Even if he loses the battle, he will have to make the opponent pay some price. Soon, the Whitebeard pirates had entered a certain distance, and Marine began to issue warnings. A loud broadcast voice came over. The pirate group ahead immediately stops advancing. Please communicate with us, otherwise immediately open fire. Chapter 253. Marine Division. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This loud warning sound quickly spread throughout the sea where the Whitebeard pirate group is located. After entering this area, the members of the Whitebeard pirate group were also refreshed. After all, they were facing Marine, not ordinary pirates. Father. Marco stood beside Whitebeard. Marco, stop moving forward and tell them, ask the person in charge to come out and contact. Whitebeard said. Stop. Marco ordered immediately. At the same time, Marco took a leap and flew directly into the air. Marco yelled to Marine. We are the Whitebeard pirates. We have no intention of going to war with Marine. We just want to communicate. Ask your person in charge to come out and talk. After Marco finished speaking, Dirk Vice Admiral stepped forward. Kaido, I am Dirk Vice Admiral, the head of the Marine Division. May I ask you something? Father. Marco paused and looked at Whitebeard. Whitebeard motioned with his eyes, and Marco immediately ordered people to bring out Shiryu, one of the Blackbeard pirates. Vice Admiral, Dirk, should you know this? Marco pulled Shiryu of Rain in front of him and said to them with a smile. the former warden of entering the city, Shiryu of Rain. Not only Dirk Vice Admiral, but even the Marine soldiers knew each other, and they were all surprised and angered at the same time. Advertisement. Yuji Shiryu, as the warden of Impel Down, was imprisoned because he liked to execute prisoners privately. When Luffy and Blackbeard fought on Impel Down, many prisoners were released. At that time, the warden Magellan couldn't deal with so many people at the same time, so he released Shiryu of Rain, and wanted Shiryu of Rain to help catch these prisoners. But to everyone's surprise, Shiryu of Rain at the time directly chose to join the Blackbeard pirates, and instead severely injured Magellan. In this case, some Marines even hated Shiryu of Rain beyond Blackbeard, because Blackbeard is an out-and-out villain. Shiryu of Rain is a rebel, which is equivalent to stabbing Marine in the back. This is the most unacceptable and angry. Therefore, when they saw Shiryu of Rain, these soldiers, even Dirk Vice Admiral's heart was upset, and they wished to take Shiryu of Rain right away. However, at this time, as the head of the Marine Division, Dirk of Marine Vice Admiral, he realized that it was not just the issue of Hirayu. Since Shiryu is here, he has thought about it for so long. Shiryu of the Rain, have you defeated the Blackbeard pirates? Dirk Vice Admiral asked in surprise. It seems that Marine knows you very well. Marco said to Shiryu of Rain with a smile. Good eyesight, Dirk Vice Admiral, you have a good guess, the Blackbeard pirates have been wiped out by us. Marco said word by word, his voice exploded like a thunder in the hearts of everyone at the scene. The Blackbeard pirates, although they are the new 4 emperors, they are also undoubtedly Sea Emperors. But now, it was easily ruined in the hands of another 4 emperors, no, the One Piece King Whitebeard pirate group. Advertisement. This is absolutely earth-shattering news, which can shock the world in less than a day. Dirk Vice Admiral couldn't help but wipe his sweat. The King of the Sea was right in front of him. Although it was a few hundred meters away, he could feel the majesty of Whitebeard. Although Whitebeard has not spoken, Dirk Vice Admiral's attention has always been on him, not Marco. Dirk Vice Admiral can see that Whitebeard's tall and straight body stands proudly on the bow, and his unmoving body is admirable. Whether it is true or false, this matter is not trivial, and it is definitely not something that can be discussed in front of the public at this stage. There are too many Marine soldiers here, so Dirk Vice Admiral does not want this matter to be exposed further. I understand, can you send a representative into the branch to talk to me personally? Dirk Vice Admiral asked solemnly. Marco, then you can go in and take a walk. Whitebeard said. Okay, old man. Marco nodded, then flew out. Marco entered the branch with Dirk Vice Admiral to talk, and these peripheral Marine soldiers were still vigilant against the Whitebeard pirates. HMPH, these guys, do you think that a few cannons against us can pose a threat to us? A captain saw the cannon on the Marine city wall facing them and couldn't help laughing. Although the positions are different, there are also many passionate people in Marine. They yearn for freedom like our pirates, so there is no need to scorn them. Whitebeard reminded. Daddy, I'm sorry, I'm overwhelmed. The man immediately blushed and apologized. Advertisement. Gum ha ha ha. There is no need to apologize, you can just pay attention to it in the future. You are all my sons, and it is only natural for the father to tolerate his son. Whitebeard suddenly laughed. Father, do you say that Marine will agree to my request? After all, we are already a big threat to Marine, and they will help us expand our strength. After Marco went in for a while, Joes couldn't help but ask Road. I also don't think Marine will agree. After all, the Marine government is more afraid of us than those Impel Down prisoners. Yarrow also said. Whitebeard smiled slightly in 947. Well, what you said makes sense, but let's wait for the result. I still believe that Marco can negotiate with them successfully. Father, according to what I said, it's better to just attack here, aren't all the resources of the Marine branch ours? At this time, Whitebeard too said eagerly, since the battle against San Juan, he always wanted to fight. Fight. Shut up, you stupid man. Dad wants to be the one piece of freedom, not the most brutal coon. Beasta suddenly gave Whitebeard a blank look. After Marco entered the Marine division, he saw that many Marine soldiers along the way showed strong hostility towards him. After all, the war was so large that both sides suffered countless deaths and injuries. It can be said that the hatred is as deep as the sea. Moreover, the pirates and Marine have always been different from each other, and now, The captain of the Whitebeard ship has appeared in the Marine branch in a magnificent manner, no matter what he is here for. The Marines all felt an anger lingering in their hearts, but because Dirk Vice Admiral was also with Marco, they had to suppress the anger in their hearts forcibly. That guy, isn't he the captain on the Whitebeard ship? Yes, it's called Marco. I really don't know what their purpose is here. Chapter 254. Ask Marine for warships. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Couldn't it be the cooperation between inside and outside to destroy the Marine branch? No, this is too scary. I hope Dirk Vice Admiral can deal with it carefully and don't fall into their tricks. The whispers of these Marine soldiers and the hostility on their faces made Marco lament the great hatred between Marine and the pirates. Dirk Vice Admiral also noticed the changes on Marco's face, and he was helpless for the performance of these Marines. Because the relatives and friends of these Marine soldiers may have died at the hands of the pirates, or died at the hands of the Whitebeard pirates. Hate cannot be suppressed forcibly with commands, otherwise it will produce a greater collapse of hatred. Please don't mind, just follow me. Dirk Vice Admiral took Marco to his office, closed the door and said to him, "Please sit down, there is no monitoring equipment here, you can communicate as you like." Marco sat in front of Dirk Vice Admiral and immediately began their topic. "First introduce myself, I am the first captain of the Whitebeard pirates, Marco." Dirk Vice Admiral's courtesy to the pirates also improved a bit, nodded, and said, "Dirk Vice Admiral." Marco continued, "We just defeated the Blackbeard pirates and captured all the crew of the Blackbeard pirates, except Blackbeard." Dirk Vice Admiral's heart was suddenly shocked, thinking that the Blackbeard pirates had been wiped out in this way. Such a silent demise might have been unimaginable before. Advertisement. You know, this is the level of 4 emperors, and there is almost no turbulence before and after. The normal situation should cause an uproar in the entire world. Then Marine may also take the opportunity to dispatch, the war will continue for a few months or so, and then one side will lose. And now, let alone a few months, I am afraid that there are not even a few days, if the journey time is not calculated. However, there is still a core problem in Marco's words, and Dirk Vice Admiral is keenly grasping this problem. Except for Blackbeard, does it mean that Blackbeard escaped? Dirk Vice Admiral asked. How is it possible that we are targeted by the Whitebeard pirates, and is it possible to escape? Marco said triumphantly. Dirk Vice Admiral was a little embarrassed at once. His words seemed to be talking about the Blackbeard pirates, but secretly he seemed to be provoking Marine. However, this kind of remark still made Dirk Vice Admiral a bit ashamed. He had to admit that if Whitebeard really did something wrong, it would be very bad. The Marine here is not as strong as Marineford. Facing the attack of the 4 Emperors level pirate group, I am afraid that it will be destroyed without support. Then where is Blackbeard now? Dirk Vice Admiral asked again. Maybe try it in hell. Marco replied thoughtfully. After all, that guy has done so many bad things that he should go to hell. And Dirk Vice Admiral seems to have misunderstood Marco's meaning. He thought hell means life is better than death, and where Blackbeard is trapped. Have you trapped him? And if you can, how about giving him to Marine? Dirk Vice Admiral asked. If Blackbeard can be executed publicly, just like Roger at the time, it will undoubtedly increase the authority of the Marine government. Advertisement. It will allow the Marine government to gain more trust from the people and make the people believe that even the 4 emperors are not worth mentioning in front of the Marine government and will be eliminated sooner or later. However, Marco couldn't help laughing. What are you talking about? What I mean by his hell is that he has been killed by the old man. What? Dirk Vice Admiral's heart suddenly shook, and Blackbeard was killed like this. Is there any way to prove it? Dirk Vice Admiral asked questioningly. After all, this is a big event that needs to be confirmed. If you just believe this matter and even report it based on a single sentence from Marco, wouldn't it be a big joke if something goes wrong? If you insist on the evidence, Blackbeard's crew is in our hands, you can ask them about this. Marco said. Then what is your purpose for coming this time? Dirk Vice Admiral gradually became serious. Rain Shiryu, Badgers, Katrine, Pizarro, Lafitte, Poison Q, Basque. Marco suddenly said a string of names. Realizing that these were all Blackbeard's crew members, Dirk Vice Admiral immediately took out a brochure from the drawer and began to compare the names Marco said one by one. These people are on our ship, and our purpose is to hand them over to the Marine government. Marco finally said. As soon as these words came out, Dirk Vice Admiral was also slightly surprised. After all, few pirates negotiated with them on their own initiative, and it seemed to be good for Marine. If Blackbeard is really dead, then he can capture his crew, which is undoubtedly a good thing for Marine. It's just that Dirk Vice Admiral noticed that there were two missing names in Marco's words. Advertisement. There are two more Blackbeard crew members, Van Oka and San Juan. Didn't you catch them? Vice Admiral asked Dirk. Although it doesn't matter if two people are missing, it is best to get them all. Van Oka was killed in the battle, and San Juan has joined the Whitebeard pirates. Marco said lightly. Dirk immediately thought of the huge figure he had seen before. Isn't that San Juan? It turns out that he has already joined the Whitebeard pirates, so it is impossible to make the Whitebeard pirates a partner. What's your purpose in giving them to Marine? Dirk Vice Admiral asked when he came to his senses. Yes, of course we have the conditions, otherwise it would be impossible to give you such a big benefit to Marine. It would be naive to think this way. Marco said. Nuo Ma Jiao. Then please speak directly. Dirk Vice Admiral said. We need 5 advanced Marine ships. Marco said. Using these Blackbeard crews in exchange for 5 high-level warships is definitely a good deal. You know, the biggest difference between the pirates and Marine is the equipment. Marine warships are all regular configurations, with artillery, torpedoes, and various combat equipment. Although this advantage does not make much sense to a powerhouse of Admiral's level, it is absolutely devastating for basic combat power. The reason why Whitebeard only had 5 ships, because there were too many, Marine was absolutely unwilling, and secondly, these 5 ships happened to be given to him by the 5 main captains. However, Dirk Vice Admiral was shocked upon hearing this condition. The pirate asks Marine for a warship. Or is it an advanced battleship? This is definitely big news, right? Chapter 255. Naval Headquarters has a meeting again. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Dirk Vice Admiral gradually recovered from the shock. He fumbled for a cigar from his body and lit it. After taking a sip, he said, high-level battleships are also rare items in Marine. You will need 5 ships as soon as you open your mouth. Besides, are you not pirates? Pirates must look like pirates. Doesn't he enjoy driving a pirate ship? What does it look like when driving a warship? Marco said with a serious face. We want 5 advanced warships, no other requirements, and, externally, you can say that Marine defeated the Blackbeard pirates. We will never preach to the world on this point. How? It will be of great benefit to you Marine. What Marco said is that Dirk Vice Admiral knows clearly. However, the condition of the 5 advanced warships is really embarrassing. Moreover, he does not have this right and must consult the Marine headquarters. Do you know how much military expenditure is needed to build an advanced warship? And, as far as the bounty of these people is concerned, they are not enough to support such a large military expenditure. Dirk Vice Admiral retorted. Yes, from this point of view, there is indeed no value of 947. However, your Marine has reduced 4 emperors without a single soldier. Isn't this a good thing for you? Moreover, in the future, we will defeat the other 4 emperors' pirate group. The great sailing era will probably be completely ended by the old man. This should be a great thing for Marine. Isn't it right for you to invest in advance? Marco's words are full of hints, and it seems to have the meaning of uniting with Marine, but Dirk Vice Admiral dare not answer at will. He does not have such qualifications at this level. If you don't mind, I will arrange for you to rest here first. I need to ask my superiors for instructions. Dirk Vice Admiral said. Advertisement. Of course. Marco nodded. Dirk Vice Admiral then asked Marco to arrange a room to rest, and then began to contact the headquarters. Headquarters. This is Marine Dirk Vice Admiral. The Whitebeard pirates have approached here just now. I hope I can contact Marshal Marine. Please wait. Marshal Akainu. Dirk Vice Admiral has an urgent matter. Akainu was sitting in his office. He frowned and looked at the list and introduction in front of him. The world conscription has started for some time, although some generals have been added, but Admiral's selection still cannot satisfy him. What's the matter? Akainu answered the phone very unhappy. Marshal Akainu. This is Dirk Vice Admiral. The Whitebeard pirate group came to my Marine branch and made some conditions. What? You make it clear. Akainu immediately got up from the chair. Dirk Vice Admiral explained the matter in detail, and after listening to it, Akainu was furious. What? Want 5 high-end warships? It's really Jong. Tell him. Don't think about one. Let them change other conditions. Akainu was very irritable on the phone, but Dirk Vice Admiral felt a bit tricky. In this way, Akainu didn't seem to seriously consider the problem he said. Advertisement. The news was not only known to Akainu, but related information was quickly reported to Sengoku, Garp, Crane and others. The news of the destruction of the Blackbeard pirate group quickly shook the Marine government's senior officials and even 5 elders. 5 elders believes that Akainu's behavior is too extreme, but that this matter can be discussed. At the same time, Sengoku and others also believe that it should not be easily rejected. Under Sengoku's recontact, Dirk got an order not to answer for the time being. At the same time, the Marine government immediately convened a meeting to announce the result of the destruction of the Blackbeard pirate group. After all, the Marine government is full of influence, and once the result is known, it can take the initiative to check. So soon the result of the ABFA verification came out. The Blackbeard pirates did indeed fight against the Whitebeard pirates on the Steppe Island and were killed. When the Marine government announced this information, all Marines were shocked, and the Whitebeard pirates actually wiped out the Blackbeard pirates without any disturbance. These people couldn't help but sigh Whitebeard's power on the one hand, but on the other hand, it was a pity that Marine was not destroyed by himself. At the meeting, Akainu, as Marshal Marine, did not make any comments for a long time. Therefore, the meeting fell silent for a while. Seeing Akainu not speaking, Sengoku had to preside over the overall situation. Everyone, you know everything. The Whitebeard pirates are still waiting for Marine's reply from Dirk Vice Admiral. I don't know what your opinion is. After Sengoku finished speaking, some generals began to discuss, and Akainu couldn't help but start muttering. Advertisement. This kind of thing doesn't need a Marine meeting at all. If they agree to their terms, wouldn't it lose Marine's majesty? It represents Marine's compromise with the pirates. In fact, Akainu strongly disagrees with Marine agreeing to the conditions put forward by the Whitebeard pirates. It would be okay if only to exchange other things, but these are 5 high-level warships. First of all, this battleship represents the Marine's card. If it is used by the pirates, what kind of impact will it have? It will definitely cause it. People feel that Marine is already powerless to fight the pirates. Otherwise, how could it be compromised like this? And if it spreads out, I am afraid it will make other pirate groups feel that Marine is good for bullying, and the prestige of the Marine government may gradually decline. Akainu is a person who pays great attention to the face of Marine. He not only has to carry out the absolute justice in her heart, but at the same time, he also has to decorate the Marine government brand with brilliance and splendor. Even if Marine has any mistakes, the mistakes must be modified and not fully exposed to the public. As for Akainu's ideas, Marine, who has the same attitude, naturally shares the same ideas with him, but there are many people who disagree. Sakazuki, you have become Marine Marshal. You are the commander of the Marine government. I hope you can control your emotions and make correct judgments. Garp sneered at Akainu very sarcastically. This made Akainu a little angry, but since the opponent is an old man and Marine's hero, Akainu didn't care about it. He just insisted. No matter what you think, first think if Marine compromises, then Marine's majesty will end. Lose. Seeing Akainu like this, Sengoku also shook his head helplessly. He looked at the Crane Vice Admiral and asked, "What do you think?" Crane Vice Admiral thought for a while, and then said, "I think I can agree to this condition. Since Whitebeard is actively coming to communicate with Marine, and has a friendly attitude, it would be great if we can maintain this friendly relationship for a short period of time." Chapter 256. Marine's Decision. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hearing that Vice Admiral was in favor of Crane, Akainu couldn't help being a little surprised. He asked in astonishment, "Grandma Crane, how come you are also on their side? Don't you think about the face of the Marine government?" Crane Vice Admiral resolutely returned, "I am considering the interests of the Marine government. Since the Whitebeard pirates came with sincerity, then we naturally have to respond in a friendly manner. If we are now in conflict with the Whitebeard pirates, for Marine does not have any. Good. So for the interests of the Marine government, should we compromise with the pirates? Isn't the basic principle of the Marine government to fight against the pirates and uphold justice?" Akainu suddenly became excited and the scene was a bit fierce. "Sakazuki, pay attention to your attitude." Sengoku scolded immediately. Vice Admiral did not speak, but her emotions were also a little turbulent, but she resisted. There was no seizure. Oh, Marshal, calm down. Everyone communicates friendly, don't be so excited. Kizaru immediately comforted Akainu. Sengoku immediately said to Akainu, let's listen to Vice Admiral, let's sit down first. Then Sengoku turned his head to Suru Vice Admiral and said, Suru, go ahead. Advertisement. He took care of his emotions, and then calmed down and said, the current situation of the Marine government, if there is a conflict with the Whitebeard pirates, then the situation will be very disadvantaged. The strength of Whitebeard itself does not need to be said much. Everyone understands that it will consume a lot of troops to deal with the Whitebeard pirates, and it may not necessarily eliminate Whitebeard. It can only be said that it has attacked the forces of the Whitebeard pirates. However, for this alone, I am afraid that our Marine government will have to pay a huge price. For a person who is not sure that Whitebeard can be eliminated, only the result of fighting the Whitebeard pirates, the choice of fighting with the Whitebeard pirates needs to be avoided. Of course, this is only temporary. We currently need to maintain a certain relationship with the Whitebeard pirate group. Since this time the Whitebeard pirate group has taken the initiative to negotiate, then we will follow the trend. It is just 5 battleships. When? Remove all the special weapons above, leaving only the basic equipment. Furthermore, don't regard this cooperation as a compromise, and it's not the first time that you really want to say a compromise. It is really necessary to investigate it. I am afraid that the establishment of Shichibukai has violated the principles of the Marine government. Speaking of this, everyone feels that the words of Vice Admiral Crane are very reasonable, because it is true that Shichibukai is the Marine government in order to check and balance the pirates, and join some influential pirates. Both are pirates, but Shichibukai enjoys legal power, which in itself is a kind of trampling on the so-called justice of the Marine government. Even Akainu didn't speak anymore, because he also deeply understood the evil of Shichibukai's position, but some things that were deeply ingrained were not so easy to change. But the problem is that he is now the marshal of the Marine government, but he still can't act according to his ideas, because 5 elders disagrees. Noting Akainu's helpless expression on Akainu, Sengoku also comforted. Just listen to Suru Vice Admiral. This is also the case of 5 elders. We can use the Whitebeard pirates to deal with other 4 emperors in the future. Moreover, we are now. The Whitebeard pirates made some appropriate retreats, just to fight more powerfully in the future. Advertisement. The reason why Sengoku comforted Akainu so much is also apologetic. After all, they are seniors who have almost retired, but they have overstepped Akainu's power on certain issues. Although this behavior is normal in the eyes of other Marines, Sengoku only compares himself to that year in his heart. As Marshal Marine, he has a passion for dealing with pirates, and he definitely hopes that he can have the absolute right to speak and be convenient. Hit the pirates hard. After persuasion, Akainu also reluctantly accepted. Soon, the Marine government selected 5 high-level warships that had been in service for a long time, and they were still old-fashioned, and some special weapons were dismantled. Of course, even so, compared to those pirate ships, these 5 warships still have a strong offensive power and can easily face multiple pirate ships. Negotiating with the Whitebeard pirate group, of course, Admiral was sent to meet the cards, and it also represented Marine's attention. This matter was handed over to Kizaru. Kizaru is also used to doing this kind of thing, and soon set off with 5 warships. At the same time, the news was also passed to Dirk Vice Admiral. 0 seeking flowers, 0. After Dirk Vice Admiral received the reply, he immediately told Marco. Did the Marine government really agree? Marco was a little surprised. He didn't expect Marine to reply so quickly, and he didn't mess around or bargain. Yes, I'm already on my way here, but it may take a day and you need to wait. Dirk Vice Admiral replied. At the same time, he himself was surprised. He didn't expect the Marine government to promise so neatly. And since Akainu took office as Marine Marshal, the Marine government's style has always been very harsh, especially for pirates, it is full of brutality. Advertisement. Therefore, it is difficult for Dirk Vice Admiral to imagine that in this environment, the Marine government would agree to this condition of the Whitebeard pirates. If it is the so-called use of the Whitebeard pirate group to deal with other 4 emperors, it must be too superficial. The deepest reason must be the master in the hands of 5 elders. Dirk Vice Admiral does not dare to guess at will, but in this way, I am afraid that the marine government has basically no majesty in people's hearts, especially the waters of New World. But then again, in New World, there were originally batches of guys who did not put the marine government in their eyes. If they were put in their eyes, they would not come to New World, or New World will not last long. The marine government agreed so readily that Marco couldn't help but think about it. He thought to himself, if only a few more medicines would be taken at that time. If 10 ships are required, the marine government will agree to it. Of course, it is meaningless to regret these now. In that case, let's wait here for a day. I'll go back and tell the old man the news. Marco left after speaking. Marco flew all the way out of the marine branch, then flew into the air and landed on the Whitebeard ship. Daddy. Marco yelled respectfully. How is the situation? Whitebeard asked. The marine government has agreed to our terms. It is now on the way and needs to wait a day. Marco replied. And. Chapter 257. The confrontation between Whitebeard and Marine. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hearing what Marco said, all the crew present were very proud, which proved that they had achieved a positive effect in diplomacy facing the marine government. It seems that the marine government is also afraid of us. It even agreed to this condition. To be precise, he should be afraid of our father. That's right, Dad's current strength, the marine government will be shocked. The marine government is now aware of current affairs, knowing that it can rely on us to enjoy the benefits of fishermen. We helped them eliminate the Blackbeard pirates. Everyone was talking about it, only to hear Whitebeard cough, and everyone was silent. In front of the marine government, be like a group of big pirates, don't act like a woman in the country who likes to chew her tongue. Whitebeard said to them. I heard that there is no 947. How I usually teach you, I don't care about it, I must pay attention to discipline in front of outsiders. Marco also taught aloud. Got it, Daddy. Everyone immediately replied in unison. Whitebeard nodded, then let everyone move freely. Father, the marine government agreed to our terms so quickly, is there any fraud in this? Marco asked in a low voice beside Whitebeard. Although this possibility is relatively small, Marco still has some doubts about it. Advertisement. After all, it looks a little strange, it is really reminiscent of it, Marine is fooling them. People have to think that Marine apparently promised them to give him 5 warships, but in fact he sent troops to attack them. However, these are Marco's own thoughts, because he feels that the relationship between Marine and the pirates has become worse since the top of the war. In the past, it was just that Marine and the pirates had different positions and conflicts. Now, Marine is full of resentment towards the pirates. These are also the personal experiences of Marco in the Marine anti-branch, so he has this kind of conspiracy theory. However, Whitebeard comforted Marco's thoughts. Don't worry, the marine government dare not do these small actions in front of me. If they dare to have any weird conspiracy, I promise their headquarters will need to be rebuilt tomorrow. Whitebeard said very confidently that this stems from Whitebeard's absolute confidence in his own strength. The marine government has already seen his strength. If you still have the idea of starting a war easily, then the marine government is undoubtedly asking for trouble. Since the battle between Whitebeard and Garp Kazaru, the marine government should be able to understand the difficulty of dealing with him. Therefore, according to Whitebeard's conjecture, the marine government will not really deal with him at least when other 4 emperors still exist on the sea. Whitebeard is so confident that Marco naturally didn't think about it anymore. The Whitebeard pirates waited for a day in the waters near the marine branch. During this time, the Whitebeard pirates received an important call. Hey, is Daddy here? An eager voice came from the other end of the phone. It's me, what happened? Whitebeard answered the phone and asked. Advertisement. Father, the Fishmen Island is now in critical condition and is about to be occupied. The urgent voice over there said. The Fishmen Island. What forces did it? Whitebeard asked immediately. Hody Jones and the pirates of Van der Deacon Ix. In addition, there are some forces of the Ant. Most of our forces stationed here have been subdued. The other party replied. That guy Linlin. Well, wait, I will deal with it as soon as possible. Hanging up, Whitebeard was also a little angry, but he expected it. After all, his reputation is getting louder and louder, and it is impossible for those 4 emperors to do nothing without moving. And the Fishmen Island is a farther place, not to mention that he has now defeated the Blackbeard pirates. Father, what's the matter? Marco asked with concern when seeing Whitebeard a little displeased. The ant has taken action on the Fishman Island. It seems that we have to take a trip, but the headquarters also needs manpower. This time I will take Wabel and San Juan, and you will lead the other captains back. Whitebeard said to Marco. He felt that the ant made a shot. It would be impossible not to go there by himself, because the place of the Fishman Island must be firmly in his hands. Father, what about these 5 warships? Marco asked. You can bring it back to the headquarters together. Whitebeard said. Marco immediately became a little worried. But, Daddy, if you leave for the Fishman Island, if Marine shoots at this time, or Kaido comes to snatch it, then we may not be able to hold it. Marco's worry is not unreasonable. After all, these are 5 high-level warships, which are nothing ordinary. Whitebeard thought for a while and felt that it was safer to bring it with him, and since it was going to the Fishman Island to help them clear the threat, of course, they had to show the cards of the Whitebeard pirate group. Advertisement. With 5 marine warships escorting, I'm afraid anyone will be surprised. There is nothing more powerful than this. Well, then, you can take the other captains to leave first, and the 5 pirate ships will be brought back, and everything will be handled by you, Whitebeard said. Later, Whitebeard took Whitebeard 2 to San Juan, and all the ships were led by Marco to return. As for the remnants of the Blackbeard pirates, Marco gave Dirk Vice Admiral before leaving. At this time, he was not afraid of Marines cheating. When the Marines saw that the Whitebeard pirates had evacuated, they were a little strange and began to talk about it. Even Dirk Vice Admiral is a bit strange. Why the transaction has not been completed, the 5 warships have not been received, they are leaving. Moreover, only the captain and 2 of his men were left waiting here, which seemed a bit unreasonable. However, in the face of 5.0 Whitebeard, Dirk Vice Admiral did not dare to ask more. Fortunately, the 5 warships soon appeared under the escort of Kizaru. Standing on the bow of the battleship, Kizaru saw Whitebeard and San Juan at his feet from a distance. Oh, isn't that San Juan, the evil wolf known as a huge battleship? I didn't expect to submit to Whitebeard. It's really unfavorable. Kizaru thought to himself. Monkey, I met again, I didn't expect it to be you again. Whitebeard said. I don't want to deal with you, you have already handed in, right, these 5 warships are yours, I hope I can continue to cooperate next time. Kizaru said. After speaking, Kizaru ordered the warships to head to Whitebeard's direction and obeyed his command. The operators in the engine room remained on these warships, and they were all given to Whitebeard. Chapter 258. 5 Tigers of the Whitebeard Pirates. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This is as it should be. After all, this is also the default condition. Otherwise, it will only be given to warships. Pirates who are not familiar with this kind of warship equipment may not be able to operate. Whitebeard was also very satisfied with this, and he happily led the warship away. I see the monkey next time, I hope it won't be the enemy. Whitebeard said goodbye with a smile. Dirk Vice Admiral looked at the direction Whitebeard was leaving, and suddenly felt something wrong. Kizaru Admiral, I feel like there are some situations. Whitebeard's direction is different from the direction his pirates left before. Dirk Vice Admiral said immediately. Oh, Whitebeard's direction doesn't seem to be returning to his own territory. It seems that he has some plans. Kizaru was also thoughtful. Then we are going to send someone to check it out. Dirk Vice Admiral asked. It is impossible to send someone to follow without being noticed by Whitebeard. It will only cause more trouble at that time. Forget it, at least it won't be a disadvantage to Marine. Kizaru felt that more is worse than less. Dirk Vice Admiral had no choice but to make 01. However, through this negotiation with the Whitebeard pirates, he felt that the captains of Whitebeard were quite disciplined. Especially Marco. Since he entered the Marine branch, he faced the verbal insults of some Marine soldiers in time, and he did not show bad emotions. This is completely different from the pirates in Vice Admiral's impression of Dirk. He felt that the pirates were all heinous sins, only the difference in degree. Advertisement. But now it seems that this Whitebeard not only has its own style of king, but even his captains are all arrogant and decent. This kind of pirate group has an eye-catching feeling. Dirk Vice Admiral thinks Whitebeard is much better than Kaido, the pirates. By the way, did you have dinner here? It's not easy to come here. I'll leave after eating. Kizaru suddenly said to Dirk Vice Admiral. Dirk Vice Admiral was a little ashamed, wondering if this guy is really Admiral. Kazaru Admiral, let's go in and have a rest, you can have dinner right away, Dirk Vice Admiral said. Oh, that's great. Marco was leaving with the 5 pirate regiments, and there were constant complaints. Hey, why didn't Dad take me? I really want to go to the Fishman Island to have a look and play. Brother Yarrow shouted. Brother, stay well, Dad is to solve the crisis of the Fishman Island, not to play. Joe said. What? Isn't that the same? I heard that there are many beautiful mermaid sisters. Don't you feel like it? Eroge suddenly turned out by Akugan. What about this? Joe's couldn't answer for a while. I still think about the beautiful young lady. The aunts have given us hands, although the Fishman Island is only a place under our jurisdiction, and it has been separated for a while after the death of the old man. But then the old man also slowly recovered. In this case, the aunt dared to pay attention to the Fishman Island. This is obviously a provocation to us. Marco couldn't accept any provocation against the Whitebeard pirates, he felt it was a shame. Advertisement. After Marco said so, the attitudes of others were also ignited. Yes, the next goal, let's attack the ant pirate group, this guy is afraid that he doesn't want to throw himself into the net. I don't think you should do it one by one, and just clean up the ant and Kaido together. The captains began to talk more and more excited, as if they were full of anticipation and fearlessness about the start of the war, and Marco was also a little speechless about this. You people, if you really want to go to war, you can't be so disorderly. I don't think it is a problem with an old father against Ant and Kaido, but can you fight against the union of the 4 Emperors pirate group? Marco couldn't help but teach them, the enthusiasm of these people is always full of willfulness. Now we have 5 tiger generals, the old man sealed him, are you afraid that you can't deal with them? Yes, there are so many masters on our ship, isn't it just 4 Emperors regiments? We're done. Marco couldn't suppress the crew's cheers, so he couldn't shake his head. But don't tell me, what they are saying sounds quite pleasing. Aromatica said, patting Marco on the shoulder. I think it should be ashamed, you really think you are invincible in the world. Beasta couldn't help laughing. Never underestimate the opponent, the generals under the ant, and the 3 plagues under Kaido, plus other strong players, they really want to unite, I am afraid we will be defeated. Joes calmly analyzed. Damn, Joes, why do you always have the aspirations of others to destroy your own prestige, don't you believe in our own strength? Yaluoj said immediately. Yours is not self-confidence, yours is arrogant. Marco replied. Advertisement. Hey, all unite against me, right, okay, I won't say anything, listen to what you can do. Brother Yaluo said bitterly. Marco and the others looked at each other, they all felt that Arrow had a temper like a child, but it was true that he was younger. But to be honest, as the 5 tiger generals, should we cooperate with a tactic or formation or something? Beasta suddenly gave birth to a wonderful idea. In the future, the battle with the 4 Emperors group will inevitably require a big scene, and it would be a waste of them to fight alone. 947 If you unite to create a large-scale move, you can control a battlefield, which is much more efficient than fighting alone. As soon as Beasta's words came out, it immediately aroused everyone's thinking, and Marco and others also became interested in it. Vista, go on, do you have any ideas? Marco asked. I think we should use our respective strengths to merge each other's strengths to create powerful moves, not just tactical cooperation. Beasta thought. The fusion of each other's power. Aroko was lost in thought. Everyone has our own disadvantages. Although we have strengthened a little through the special training of the old man, if we can unite our respective special places, we can exert extraordinary strength. At that time, there will be no one to stop. There was also a fiery color in Jaws's eyes. As soon as the idea appeared, it could not be stopped. Everyone began to think about how to cooperate. My characteristic is the recovery of the phoenix, and it can fly. Jaws's characteristic is diamond defense, Beasta's characteristic is the flurry of foil dance, and Arogo's characteristic is the wind speed. Marco analyzed the characteristics of each person. He wants to find a balance from it, so that everyone's strengths can be maximized, so that he can create a terrible move. Chapter 259. Marco's progress. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Marco and others have their own characteristics, but their abilities are also far from each other. It is not easy to fully integrate the strengths of everyone. However, they are all very enthusiastic about this matter. Therefore, They have been thinking about this issue during this period of sailing on the sea. Thinking about it when eating, and also thinking about it when sleeping. Basically, except for some special things, they will study this together every day. On this day, Marco and others got together again. This time, they planned to practice. Marco turned into a phoenix and flew into the air, and Jose appeared in a diamond suit, occupying a certain position. Alorge and Bista also made preparations, occupying 2 directions respectively, and the 4 of them occupied 4 directions respectively. First of all, they established a basic way of fusion, which is based on Arog. All the skills of other people are attached to it, and then merged. Are you ready, everyone? Marco asked. Okay, no problem. Everyone replied. Okay, Brother Alor, let's start, Marco said. Okay, this is the beginning. Yaluoje promised, and then began to use Fengfeng Fruit's ability. I saw that Aroj gradually gathered a small whirlwind in the middle of the 4, about as high as 1 person, and in order to adapt to the integration, Aroj did not compress much power. Arogo began to gradually calm the whirlwind, and then Marco emitted a series of small particle-like flames. Advertisement. The cyan flames of these phoenixes gradually attached to the small whirlwind, and quickly spread everywhere. Soon, the small whirlwind turned into a blue flame whirlwind. The first step was successful. Arogo was a little happy at once. Generally speaking, the collision of the 2 moves will only produce powerful friends. If you want to merge, you need to be extra subtle in the master control of the moves. And this exquisiteness puts a lot of pressure on Yaluoje. After all, his whirlwind is equivalent to the base of a building. If his whirlwind cannot be stabilized, then other people's moves cannot be successfully attached to it, and now, Arog has successfully merged Marco's flame with his whirlwind. This made Yaluoje very happy, and now, the second step is about to begin. Jose. Marco called. Understood. Jose promised, and then began to accumulate strength. Soon, a diamond extended from Jose's body, and what was changed by Jose was like cotton cloth. Jose slowly covered this diamond on the cyan whirlwind, but at the first moment of contact, there was a burst of shock from the contact part of the 2. A turbulent air flow burst out instantly, and the strong wind pressure spread to the surroundings. Stay steady. Marco called immediately. Damn it! Jose shouted with some difficulty. Compressing these diamonds to one side has already consumed Jose's great energy, because it is very difficult to do this step, and it requires subtle control of the fruit's ability. Moreover, the consumption is continuous, and it places great demands on the human spirit. Therefore, Jose's pressure is also very high during the integration. Advertisement. At the same time, there is already a cyan flame attached to Arogo, and the common stability of Arogo and Marco also requires a lot of energy. In this case, the difficulty of continuing integration will increase exponentially, so when trying to continue integration. The small whirlwind also burst out suddenly and instantly, directly rolling Jose's diamond into pieces, and at the same time a huge force burst out in the center. This kind of power instantly expanded and then spread, shaking Marco and others back a lot. Hey, it's a pity, it's almost a bit. After the failure, Jose suddenly hammered a fist. Don't worry, this is the first time. I have experience this time and it will be better next time. Let's take a break first. Marco comforted. Afterwards, Marco and others began to analyze their problems. First of all, the problem of habit. They are not accustomed to merging with the fruit power of others, so forcibly merging is indeed somewhat reluctant. Well, let's adapt to the fusion of each other's power first, so that perhaps the efficiency of the fusion may be accelerated. Marco suggested. In the following time, they started a 2-on-2 fusion. Marco and Arog fused power, and Jose and Bista fused power. Long-term integration can make them accustomed to each other's strength, so that they will not spend so much energy and can maintain stability more and more easily. After a long period of adaptation, they began to exchange. Marco and Bista merged forces, and Jose and Arog merged forces. After adapting to another object, until the 4 people are familiar with everyone's power. At this time they started the fusion experiment again, and this time, it was Yaluoj who took the lead in performing the trick. Then came Marco. This time, Marco's cyan flame attachment went more smoothly. At this stage of Jose, he was also a lot more proficient. Advertisement. Diamonds like cotton cloth lightly cover the whirlwind. This whirlwind is like a layer of crystals, which is particularly dazzling in the sun. It succeeded. Marco said in surprise. However, the matter is not over yet. This whirlwind has the power characteristics of speed, defense, and recovery. The whirlwind covering this layer of diamond defense has increased its defensiveness a lot. Moreover, as long as it is not subject to a one-time destruction attack, relying on the characteristics of the undead flame, the whirlwind will continue to recover. In the end, it lacked aggressiveness, and this was handed over to Beasta. Nuo Ma Jiao. Beasta, it's up to you. Brother Arrow shouted. Don't worry, see if you hold it. Beasta agreed, and then raised his swords in front of him with both hands. Dance of Roses. With the swing of Beasta's double swords, the dazzling rose petals fell from the sky, accompanied by invisible sword energy. This sword energy entered from the bottom of the whirlwind and quickly merged with the whirlwind. The whirlwind instantly became exceptionally sharp. They succeeded, and the moves of Marco and others successfully merged together and maintained stability. Finally succeeded. Marco was surprised, and they didn't seem to take much time to complete this step. The level of success has improved much faster than they expected, but thanks to the special training Whitebeard gave them at the beginning, they have become much more proficient in their own abilities. Come on, let's try the power of this trick. Marco cheered. Chapter 260. The Fishmen Island. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. 5 pirate ships were driving on the sparkling sea. On the mobile, a group of cheers wafted in the sea. Before the fusion experiment started, Marco caught a huge shark in the sea. It was a whale shark about 10 meters long. One of the team captain threw the whale shark into the air, and then reminded Marco and others, it's starting. Immediately, Marco and the other 4 people exerted their forces at the same time, controlled by Eroge, and the whirlwind containing various powers instantly rushed towards the whale shark in the air. The power of the whirlwind instantly sucked the whale shark over, and countless sword oars almost instantly cut the whale shark into countless pieces. The whale shark was cut into countless small pieces of meat, and was firmly absorbed in the center of the cyclone. Marco and others immediately withdrew their power, and the pieces of meat fell on the deck. The wounds are all neat. Marco walked over and checked and said, because it was Beasta's sword gas cutting, the cutting position was very smooth. Yes, this offensive and defensive unique trick, in the future, we can use this trick to deal with those stars, the 3 plagues, and make sure that you don't even know his mother. Brother Yaluo said happily. This meat is good, let's have wine and food today. Joe's 947 said. Haha, it's time to celebrate, but there are a lot of things that need to be improved. Marco began to analyze the problem, and everyone else listened carefully. Advertisement. First of all, the first point is that our time is too long. If it is on the battlefield, the enemy can't wait for us to slowly merge. The second point is the issue of scope. Our current integration has not exerted much power. If we increase the scope, it will definitely become more and more difficult to stabilize. This requires us to constantly run in. After listening to what Marco said, the 3 felt a pressure, but it was also a challenge for them. However, we still lack 1 person now, and now we have perfected the moves. What should we do afterwards? Eroge asked. Because they originally planned to create a 5-person joint move, but now, Tesla has not joined. Moreover, Tesla's ability is also very important, it can be used to act as a part of the role similar to a lubricant, and then alleviate the impact. Tesla, that guy said he will wait for a while, it should be almost the same now, let me ABFA, urge him. Marco said. Because they had left the phone before, Marco was able to contact Tesla. Hey, Tesla, haven't your matter been settled yet, we need you here. Marco said straightforwardly. It's almost done, need me. Did something happen? Tesla asked suspiciously. On the Step Island, the design drawing of the Whitebeard statue has been made, and construction has begun. At the same time, at the highest place of the palace on the island, they continued to add a paragraph to it, engraved with the word Emperor Dao. In the center of the hall, a higher position was set up above the original seat, which Tesla always reserved for Whitebeard. The defense work on the island was almost arranged by Tesla, so he can now go to the Whitebeard pirates. Under Marco's urging, Tesla also set off immediately, and most of the residents of the island came to send Tesla off. Advertisement. Because Tesla has made a lot of contributions to their Step Island since he became the king. Moreover, with the presence of Whitebeard, the residents of Step Island can no longer accept other kingly ways. Master Wang Dao, Please come back to see us often. Master King, pay attention to safety. Master Wang Dao, we will follow your arrangement, don't worry. The residents enthusiastically bid farewell to Tesla. Tesla left the steppe island in a small boat and sailed on the sea. On the other hand, Whitebeard and Whitebeard too were standing on the back of San Juan and sailing on the sea, followed by 5 marine warships. Father, why don't you bring some other companions? They are all from marine, I'm so boring. Whitebeard too complained to Whitebeard. After all, before Whitebeard too could drink with his companions, but now, he and marine soldiers do not have a common language. Moreover, Whitebeard would not let Whitebeard second let marine battleships at all, because he was afraid that he would injure those marine soldiers. After all, these soldiers are all responsible for piloting the warship, and if they are lost, no one will be piloted. Don't worry, you will be at the Fishman Island soon. When you arrive at the Fishman Island, you will have fun there. Whitebeard said. The Fishman Island, located 10,000 meters under the sea in the Holy Land of Marichoya, is the necessary place to arrive at New World. On the island, there are many merman and murloc people. It has the reputation of undersea paradise, which is dreamlike heaven. Generally, ships going to the Fishman Island will go to Sabayati Archipelago first to coat the ships, and only after the coating can they sail to the bottom of the sea. However, Whitebeard naturally didn't want to do such a troublesome thing. For him, it was a waste of time. Advertisement. On the bottom of the sea, just go straight down and it's over. Under the control of Whitebeard's shocking power, the invisible power enveloped all the warships, opening up a special space on their sailing route. The shocking power of Whitebeard not only resists the underwater pressure, but also avoids the situation of being submerged by the sorrowful sea. In this way, they approached the Fishman Island unimpeded all the way. However, here, most of the Fishman Island has been occupied by the pirates of Hody Jones and Van der Deacon Ix. In addition, it is the ants' power that dominates them. When Whitebeard and others approached the Fishman Island, they were noticed by Hody Jones and the pirates of Van der Deacon Ix. People ahead stop. When the people were about to stop Whitebeard, they saw the feared figure in the bow of the ship. With a big knife in his hand, his beard is like a crescent, and his tall body makes it difficult for people to see who it is. Whitebeard, it's Whitebeard. The people suddenly exclaimed. After all, Whitebeard used to be under the jurisdiction of the Fishman Island, and, at the top of the war, through the live broadcast of the TV bug, many people know what Whitebeard looks like. Moreover, what shocked them even more was that Whitebeard was sailing on a giant, with 5 marine warships behind him. How could this happen? Have Marine and Whitebeard united? Are they here to deal with us? What to do now? These people panicked one after another. After all, the 4 emperors plus Marine were enough to make any pirates feel terrified.